It already. Hold on. Wait. Just because we have to wait for our other folks.
What do I do with my hands? Drink my White Claw.
I mean, do sign language while I'm not looking. It's fine. And
I wish I knew
feel
sign
like you know
language.
one sign language. Really? I know a little bit of it. But now we are all right. We are live. So, but for all the folks that are digesting the podcast, here is the pause.
Welcome to the Fantasy Debate with Sam and Tate, brought to you by Fantasy Focused and the Original Hooters. I am Sam Holt, joined as always by my awesome co-host, Derek Tate. Derek, how are you?
My Instagram does not read Derek All Things Awesome, but you throwing the awesome title on me gives me the feel goods. In fact, I'm red in the face due to my lighting, so thank you.
You're always red in the face due to your lighting. One of these days you'll get good lighting, but that's okay.
Grow up. What are we talking about today, Sam?
Oh, well, a couple things. First, if you are a regular with us, you know that we like to play drinking games while we are going through fantasy analysis because it makes it fun. So this week, our statement of the week to make everyone drink is going to be week 12. So anytime we say week 12, go ahead and cheers. I myself have my White Claw Mango, and Tate has his, I believe it's a Stella?
My mug of Stella Artois. So,
cheers, sir.
No wine Wednesdays this week, but I don't need it to start with a W to be able to drink and participate with hashtag week 12. You take a drink. There you go. So
with that, after that, we are going to be rolling into a segment we're going to call Do You Trust Me? And these are players that you could start this week, and should you start them? Before we get into that, I had a trade happen today. I know a lot of leagues, the trade deadline was today in most standard leagues. My Dynasty League happens to be bizarre in all possible ways that it can. So our trade deadline isn't till, I want to say, next Wednesday. So a trade I made this week was, and actually a trade I made the week before. Last week, I traded a pick and DJ Moore for Julio Jones. And this week, I traded 2 picks for Le'Veon Bell.
Okay.
So now, my team has scored the most points week to week compared to all other teams in the league. So I am right there. I'm in the running. I got a shot. I had a really bad loss last week because Tyreek Hill didn't show up, but that's okay because I have a lot of really great assets that I can, utilize. So my team now reads Deshaun Watson, Josh Jacobs, Aaron Jones, Julio Jones, Le'Veon Bell in flex because it's a standard league, and it's also IDP, so I've got a whole mess of defensive players. I've got a bunch of random guys that are on the bench right now because they're just maybes. I mean, Tyreek Hill's on a bye. I've got Travis Kelce on a bye, and I've got Mike Williams, Tyrell Williams, Robert Woods. I got some good pieces to move around. So I'm liking my odds.
Okay.
How do you feel about Le'Veon Bell rest of season?
I mean, his schedule really pans out well towards the back end of the season. Mm-hmm. So, and I've thought that for the New York Jets in general, even Sam Darnold, which, by the way, we may be talking about him later on, whether we can trust him or not over the next couple weeks, and for the rest of the season, for that matter. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I mean, for me, I love Le'Veon Bell for the rest of the season. I know the effectiveness and efficiency per touch is not there because the offense as a whole is still kind of sputtering. Even though Sam Darnold had a nice week and threw 4 touchdowns against the Redskins, they're still struggling on a week-to-week basis to really find a consistent rhythm and identity on the offensive side of the football. But I think we're going to expect to see more of at least the Jets offense being mildly productive. And if they're going to be mildly productive, Le'Veon Bell is going to be a huge part of that. So, and you're going to get the touches with Le'Veon Bell, but similar to like someone like Leonard Fournette, he's going to have high volume but low efficiency. Yeah. So you're basically going to get fantasy production by pure volume.
Yeah. And I mean, for me, I just wanted to make sure, because again, it's a standard league, I wanted to have a solid flex position to take me through the rest of the playoffs and through the rest of the season. So I feel like having Josh Jacobs, Aaron Jones, and Lev Bell as my key 3, I'm pretty happy with.
Well, yeah, I mean, if that's the core of your team moving through the fantasy playoffs, then yes, you should 100% be very, very happy with that. I would.
So that wasn't necessarily to brag about my roster. That was more just.
I don't know. That sounded a little bit like a roster bait.
I mean, it's not. I don't feel like it's a really sexy team. I don't think there's any players that are really like, ooh, you got that guy. Like, I feel like it's, yeah, those are all good, solid guys, and they happen to be putting up really good points. Last week, Deshaun Watson didn't have the best of weeks, but I'm hopeful for a game tomorrow, and I'm hopeful for the rest of the season. But just to bring attention, and if you guys who are watching and listening have any questions, please go ahead and leave them in the comments, and we will be sure to get to those questions as soon as you have them. And if, like me, you guys made any trades today at the last minute deadline or this week that you want to talk about and see who won that trade, please go ahead and put them in the comments. We just ask that if you reference people by last name, like Williams, there's a lot of those, so maybe be a little bit more specific. Just to help us out.
Please tell us which Williams you are referring to.
Please just let us know, because I just got a little bit confused myself looking at my notes, wondering which Williams we were about to talk about. So please go ahead and leave those in the comments, and we will get to them. And we have some people already talking to us in the chat. Thanks, guys, for joining. Fredly Jimenez, thank you for joining us again. He's always a regular with us.
Oh, Fredly rules. Yeah, Fredly's awesome.
Yes. Will Jenkins, always there for us, and he's calling me out. Grinch and Cindy Lou Who, which I believe that could be you, Derek. I think that you're more Cindy Lou than I.
That's rude.
I'm just saying that. Yeah.
What would I wear?
What would I wear? Yeah. So Fredly actually has a question for us to start us off. Okay. Wentz or Darnold at QB? Oakland seems to be a great match for Darnold.
Okay, so I want to go. My guts for some reason telling me Darnold. Darnold's coming off probably the best week of his entire season. I know they beat the Dallas Cowboys earlier in the year, but fantasy-wise and productivity-wise, he looks like he's settling in with, namely Jamison Crowder. Crowder's been crushing.
Oh, yeah, he's been huge.
5+ receptions, 75+ receiving yards, and a touchdown each of the last 3 weeks. And the matchup against Oakland, which is a top, bottom fourth of the league as far as yards allowed through the air on a weekly basis, and even points allowed. For that reason, I think I'm going to lean towards Sam Darnold, believe it or not. And not to mention Carson Wentz's pass catchers really banged up right now. Alshon Jeffrey's hurt. Deshaun Jackson's out. For me, I'm staying away from Carson Wentz. I know he had a tough matchup, and he'll be fine. He'll put up good numbers, but I'm actually going to go with Sam Darnold. I can't believe I'm saying that.
No, I honestly don't think that's necessarily weird to say, because the pass catchers are so dinged up, and because they've also been very consistent with dropping. So I feel like it's a smarter move this week, especially to be rolling out with Darnold rather than Carson Wentz, which sucks. I just don't think that Wentz is a set it and forget it this year, as he has been in years past, I think.
Did you just coin that set it and forget it, or have you heard that? Did you pull that from someone else?
I definitely stole that. I did not come up with that. I'm not that smart. I'm smarter than I look, but I'm definitely, which is going to be, I'm sure that we've talked about this before, is the title of my memoir, Smarter Than I Look, because I've been told it by multiple previous employers. Just saying.
Wow.
Smart.
My dad once told me that I better do something that doesn't involve, I better develop my brain, because I'm the worst as far as doing do-it-yourself type guys. Nothing like hearing that from your dad. Hey, you better start developing your brain, because
you better be smart, because you can't do anything.
Here I am doing broadcasting for a living. Fantastic.
Oh my God.
Thanks, everybody.
Love it. All right. Well, we've got some more questions that have already come in. And Fredly said, don't forget NLCV. Do you know what that stands for?
No.
Nope. All right, Fredly, you're going to have to fill us in on that one, because we're not quite sure.
Something like in regards to week 12.
Week 12!
Oh, yeah. By the way, if you're just now joining us, the drinking game of the week on the fantasy debate with Sam and Tate is whenever we say the words week 12. So,
drink.
But we got Tariq. How do you want to take a stab at this last name?
Al-Kasi.
Al-Kasi. All right. Trade David Johnson for Brandon Cooks in PPR. Might be a lose-lose trade. The upside is great with both of these guys that posted 0 points last week.
Yeah, no, but the upside with Brandon Cooks is he has come out and he is starting this week. So he is playing. It has been confirmed. He doesn't have a great matchup.
I'm 100% okay with it.
Yeah.
100%. Not even a question in my mind.
This is a fantastic move. It sucks that David Johnson has come to this, that you would trade him away. But PPR move, it's fantastic. Yeah, I'm good with this. And yeah, he is for sure starting this week. It sucks with the matchup, but they need to open up their offense. And the way to do that is going to be through the air. Goff is going to have to sling it this week.
Is David Johnson the fantasy bust of the season, yes or no?
Yes. I feel like he's 100%
right there with
is.
Antonio Brown. I mean,
at
least he gave you some production, but he's up in that conversation because likely David Johnson went before Antonio Brown in most leagues.
I feel like David Johnson went first before Antonio Brown in all leagues. Unless there was some crazy Raiders fan that was like, this is going to be his year.
we got Antonio Brown.
We got Antonio Brown. You guys were going to be unstoppable.
Did you see him apologize?
He apologized?
To Robert Kraft and the Patriots organization. Sorry about all the football drama.
Wow.
Or
no, I didn't see that.
Bad drama and bad something else. I'm not quoting it exactly. Help me out in the comments if you know what I'm talking about. But actually, Tariq, to jump down to the comments, said that Juju was the bigger bust, and now he's dealing with an injury.
That's true.
That's definitely debatable.
Because you did draft, I feel like most people drafted Juju ahead of Antonio Brown, if we're going off of that last one.
You could definitely make that statement. At least Juju gave you some playable weeks other than just one, though, this entire season. I still think that Juju, I mean, you started Juju even though he was playing like shit. Antonio, at least you knew he wasn't playing, so he wasn't in your lineup. So
that's true.
It's like it's the quick death as opposed to the slit your wrist and that's a little dark. Sorry, but well, anyway. Point being, I get what you're saying. They've both been bad to your fantasy football teams this year, so it's tough to take either way.
Yeah. Okay, we got a couple more questions. Yes, I was going to get to this one. Dennis Stephen L., thank you for joining us. As you're talking about Darnold, need a QB replacement for Mahomes this week and for upcoming weeks. Alternatives are Josh Allen, Drew Brees, Daniel Jones, and Derek Carr.
That is tough.
That is tough. I'm also wondering, are all of these quarterbacks on your roster? And what kind of roster do you have that you can stash 5 quarterbacks? that's
what is the format we're playing in?
What is this? Here? Is it a 2 QB league? Because that would make way more sense.
I really do like Darnold's matchup a ton this week against the Oakland Raiders, though. Josh Allen, despite having a fantastic week, I mean, he's going against a Denver Broncos team that's playing some pretty good football. I mean, they jumped out to a 20-0 lead with Brandon Allen under center, and it took a hell of a comeback from Kirk Cousins and company to be able to come away with a victory at home against that Broncos team. So I don't think that that's a cupcake matchup. I personally am going to go with Drew Brees. I trust Drew Brees. Brees is the constant veteran presence, and on any given moment, he can drop 300 yards and 2 or 3 scores through the air at any given time.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you there. I was looking at Brees' stats too, and he's got Carolina, who are very exploitable right now. And I feel like Brees is on a mission. Man on a mission after that, 2 weeks ago, where he just got completely blown out. They need a win. They're still, I think, in the hunt, and I think of that list, he's my favorite there. And yet, amazingly, Robbie did nothing last week.
Hey, Tommy, don't talk bad about Robbie Anderson. The man caught 1 pass, and it was for a tutty. 1 pass, 6 yards for 6 points for your fantasy team. But, yeah, it was a pretty rough week considering Darnold threw for, what was it, 300 yards? Oh, nearly 300 yards and 4 touchdowns, and he only caught 1 pass for 6 yards.
Yeah.
Pretty rough, yeah.
What up, Nick? Thanks for joining us. Good to see you. Nick's always here.
What up, Nick?
Tommy Garrett, Wentz pass catchers are Ertz and Goddard. That sounds accurate. But
Dallas Goddard's really good.
They're both really good, but I just still don't think they're opening up the field enough for what Wentz is capable of. And I think that's what caps his ceiling for me.
Well, Wentz is one of the best deep ball throwers in the NFL without a deep threat.
Yeah.
I mean, and you lost to Deshaun Jackson basically after week 1. So it's tough. I mean, the Philadelphia offense is clearly not clicking on all cylinders. It's unfortunate because they got a lot of potential, and I still believe in Carson Wentz as a player, but right now it's kind of tough times.
Yeah. And Nick with a question for us: full point PPR, DJ Chark or Devin Singletary?
how can you sit DJ Chark right now? Man, he just put up a monster performance. BDN's back under center. For those that don't know the acronym, Big Dick Nick. It's what we call him on our fantasy focused podcast that we record every week. But anyway, Nick Foles had himself an up and down game. I mean, Jacksonville really got their ass kicked with Foles back under center. But DJ Chark put up his numbers, scored twice. Huge game. So for me, I'm rolling with DJ Chark, even though I continue to like what I'm seeing from the involvement. 15 carries this week for Devin Singletary.
Yeah, I mean, and they're against Denver. Yeah, I'm going to go Chark as well on this. I mean, that volume, you just can't beat that. I mean, if they're going to be down, and they're going to be slinging the ball like that. And I did not know that was the nickname that you had for Nick Foles. Is that actually factually accurate? Do we have evidence to suggest that?
I don't know. Just type into Twitter or Google search BDN Nick Foles. See what pops up.
We'll see. We'll see if I actually do that. And Tommy Garrett sips mango White Claw.
Yeah, ooh, yeah. I mean,
casually. All right. Wait. And Fredley's got it for us. Oh no, I'm in trouble. NLCV.
Homework still due. Rent's due, Come on.
Don't make me get in trouble for cursing. I did not do my homework. Okay. When do you guys think it's okay to start watching Christmas movies? Because November to me is too soon. My coworker today pulled off her headphones and was like, I love Christmas music. And I leaned around my computer and looked her dead in the eye and said, too soon. And she said, Sam, you don't have to hear it. I feel like there is a time limit on when you can start these things. When do you start Christmas movies?
It's not more so Christmas movies. Christmas movies, I'm totally on board with, especially ones of the stature and the quality of National Lampoon's Christmas freaking Vacation. Watch the damn movie, Sam. But
is it on Disney Plus?
No, the people that don't know. No, the answer is no. But my bigger thing is I hate folks that start blasting Christmas music early. Really early. And I know you're the resident Grinch here on the fantasy debate. You hate Christmas. I don't know why. That's really weird.
I hate it. So much.
Thanks. I hate it.
It's horrible. It's just so weird.
Messed up. Man, I did not know that you liked watching, things like what is wrong with happiness and joy?
There's nothing wrong with happiness and joy. I just hate, being surrounded by that many people that are only just trying to get to the mall to buy stuff that they don't need. And just there's too many people out. I don't like people. But
move on. We're apologizing for Antonio Brown. There's, in fact, throw in the comments who you believe and why you think a player or this player is the fantasy bust of the 2019 fantasy football season. Go ahead and throw it in our comments, and we'll get around to it. Look, we got Tyler though. Our boy Tyler.
Tyler's in. What up, Tyler?
Tyler's crushing the retweet game on Twitter, and
he's all over that.
All over, man. Appreciate it, man. Josh Allen is the truth. Are you a believer in Josh Allen?
Yeah.
I mean, he had one. I think he had the best game of his NFL career. I mean, 300 total yards, 3 touchdowns passing, 1 on the ground. We already know he can do that.
But did he peak for the year? Because I don't know that they have the best schedule lined up.
No, they don't. They definitely don't. As far as throwing the football, I actually like Devin Singletary's schedule for the most part down the stretch. But, I mean, Josh Allen.
Denver, Dallas, Baltimore, Pittsburgh, New England.
No, I don't know. I like him. And if he continues to play like this, if he plays like this against Denver, then I think he's an automatic start with the exception of like Josh or Lamar Jackson and like Dak Prescott and Russell Wilson. I think then you have that rushing upside. I like it a lot.
Yeah.
Victor, saviors of boring Wednesday nights. Tell you what's not boring? It's week 12. Cheers.
Cheers.
Gallup or Darius Slayton this week?
I think that I'm going to
have that tough matchup against the New England secondary.
Yeah.
Even though he went nuts, he went bonkers all over the Detroit Lions secondary this past week.
I think I'm still going to have to stick with Gallup, though, because they have enough weapons that I think that he's still going to get fed. I mean, they're going to be covering Cooper like crazy. Even Randall Cobb has been seeing a lot of good looks. I actually kind of like Cobb for the same reason this week. I feel like you're going to disagree with me, and I'm fine with it. but I'm going to stick with Gallup this week.
No, I actually agree with you.
Oh, surprise!
Because Sterling Shepard's coming back this week.
Mm.
And we may get Evan Ingram back this week as well for the New York Giants. If you've already got them to go with Golden Tate, that's a lot of targets that should eat into the perceived and potential ceiling of Darius Slayton. For that reason, I will go with Gallup, who's been playing a lot of good football recently on the opposite side of Amari Cooper, despite a tough matchup. It's not like the Giants have an easy matchup either.
Gotcha. Yeah. All right. Well, Dennis with another one for us. Half-point PPR, Allen on roster. Horrible matchups coming. Breeze was on waivers, would be free agent. I lean towards Breeze as well. Thanks, guys. You're welcome, Dennis. We're happy to help.
No problem, Dennis. Happy to help.
We got you. Victor with another one for us. Need to pick between Sony Michel, Devin Singletary, or Robbie Anderson at flex for half-point PPR. We kind of touched on a couple of these, and Sony Michel being a new name to our list of guys today.
I think it's Devin Singletary easily. I know the Broncos matchup isn't like a cupcake one by any stretch of the imagination, but Sony Michel and the New England Patriots offense in general looks like a complete mess. And I think they've been exposed at this point. No offense to Tom Brady. He's the best of all time. He's got 6 rings, but he looks like a game manager and he looks cooked to me. The one touchdown they scored against a porous Philadelphia secondary was thrown by Julian Edelman. No disrespect to Tom Brady. He's the greatest of all time. But for fantasy purposes and the fact that they have so many issues along that offensive line, which is the biggest thing for Sony Michel, if they can't run the football and impose their will on opposing defenses, Michel's cap is significantly limited because of his shortcomings in the passing game, which is where James White and Rex Burkhead both excel. So for that reason, I'm going Devin Singletary over even Robbie Anderson. By the way, Robbie Anderson has caught 4 passes over the last 3 weeks for 50 yards, and he just saved his bacon this past week with a touchdown on the one catch that he did have.
How do you really feel?
I thought that was a good rant.
That was a good rant. No, I loved it. That's why I didn't jump in. Sometimes your rants, I don't want to be the speed bump in front of because they're actually really fun. But I'm going to agree with you there on all of those takes. I think that I completely agree. New England's offense has not been anything that's of stellar praise. Really, it's their defense. It's going to be getting them through to absolutely everything right now. And it's the inconsistency of who's the guy week to week in New England. So I wouldn't be wanting to pick Sony Michel this week, but I agree. Consistency wise, I think that you got to go with Devin Singletary here. Freddie Jimenez with another one for us. Guys, thank you for all these questions. I love it when you guys just keep going off and even chatting back at us in the comments. It's awesome. So it keeps us on our toes. Fredley with this one got Z Gonzo on bye. Which one's that?
Zane Gonzalez.
Oh, sure. Okay. Kicker,
Arizona Cardinals.
Boom. No, I just saw Gonzo and all I could think about was Sesame Street. So I got thrown off. On a bye.
You're a grouch.
Gotta pick.
Get a job, Grouch. Get it together, Grouch.
On bye, pick on Kai Fairbairn. We got kicker questions here. Kai Fairbairn, Boswell, Zerline, or Siebert with the Browns. These last names are difficult to spell. Yeah, they're difficult to say too. Jeez, I'm almost through my first White Claw because we've been saying week 12 so many times.
Oh, you did it.
That's the hardest thing I've had to do all day.
By the way, who's actually drinking along with us whenever we say week 12? Let us know in the comments, please.
Yeah, please do.
Technically, I said it. So, point is, I'm going to go with Boswell of the Texans, or no, Fairburn, sorry, of the Texans. Reason being is that game with the Indianapolis Colts, I see that being not a very high-scoring football game.
You feel like they're going to grind it out?
I think it's going to be a grinded-out game. I think both teams are going to be able to move the ball between the 20s, but there's not going to be a whole ton of scoring. Marlon maxed out. We don't know about T.Y. Hilton quite yet. The Colts continue to be very good as far as competitive football and running the football. By the way, I've said this a couple times on a previous episode or two, but if you are an aspiring nightclub bouncer, just turn on game tape of Quentin Nelson. because your boy just tosses 350-pound human beings around like rag dolls. So the guard of the Indianapolis Colts. Point being, though, I see this being kind of a defensive game, not a ton of points scored. Field goals and points will be at a premium.
Yeah, I can see that too. I mean, I'm kind of tempted to say Zerline just because he is so consistent. He's just fantastic for the Rams. And I don't know. I don't have a ton of confidence in Jared Goff being able to march down the field on the Ravens. So
Ravens defense is playing good football.
They have been playing out of their minds. So I think that, yeah, I agree. I'm going to go Fairbairn there as well. Tough kicker questions, man. I do have an all kicker league though, and it's kind of one of those. I have a lot of leagues that are just for shits and giggles. Yeah, so you start 3 kickers and you got 1 on your bench.
No, my lord.
Yeah, and because it's 4, there's nobody on waivers except people that are hurt, so it makes it really hard.
An all kicker and punter league. I've never heard of that, but that's amazing.
No, it's just it's the league's called Just for Kicks. So. Thank you. I know. Golf clap. Yeah. Nick Bird with one for us. Josh Allen has arguably the worst playoff schedule of any QB in the league. I just traded him for Jameis, who has an amazing playoff schedule.
The problem is when trading for Jameis Winston is that he can have a self-implosion game, which is Jameis Winston's signature, by the way, Nick Bird. Being a resident Bucs fan, I've seen it happen pretty much for his entire 5-year NFL career. So Jameis, although on paper may look to have things lining up very well, you're gonna have some peaks and valleys there, friend. A lot of turnovers, probably throw for a lot of yards though. So
yeah, probably like 400 yards with like 2 or 3 interceptions. So it might even out.
I think you're lowballing him there. I think he's 4 or 5 type interception. He's already had 4 and 5 interception games. Wow.
Well, you're the resident Tampa Bay fan, so you would know better than any. Tyler for us though, he says the entire city of Philly wholeheartedly calls him BDN. So I'm mistaken. You are absolutely correct in that one. So I don't need to Google it, thankfully, to mess up my whole internet search history. But
oh yeah, you got to delete that. You got to clear that history.
Don't need that. Nick agreeing with me here. No Christmas anything until the day after Thanksgiving. I completely agree.
Agreed.
Although it kind of sucks because the day after Thanksgiving is my birthday, which means all of that's just going to be turned on a day that I don't want to hear it because it's my birthday. I just want party. I just want to have a good time. And Nick also, I hate all holidays except Halloween. We are the same, Nick. We have so much in common.
Nick, why though? I'm like, what are there with you Christmas haters? Like, oh man. Everybody has their right to everything. I'm not going to try to convince. I try to convince you who to start in fantasy football. I'm not going to try to convince you which holidays to like.
And I sometimes agree with you and sometimes disagree with you there too.
Holidays around the Tate house are a fun time.
Oh, I'm sure they are. And I don't want people to not have fun during the holidays. I just don't like it.
I mean, there is an annual Braveheart pre-Battle of Stirling speech that I break out in front of the entire family upon demand. Sons of Scotland, I am William Wallace. William Wallace was 7 feet tall. Yes, I've heard. Kills men by the hundreds. And if he were here, he'd consume the English with fireballs from his ass and bolts of lightning from his ass.
Week 12. Week 12. Week 12.
Up there.
Week 12.
Oh, that's rude.
Back to the football.
Not my imitation. Well done.
Back to the football. Tommy Garrett with one for us. And a last-minute trade that he made. Trade I did today. 12-team PPR Dynasty Orphan and Rebuilding. I love it. I love complicated. Makes it fun. OBJ and 2020 first, 5 through 6. For DJM, I'm guessing that's DJ Moore, and 2020 first. Love getting DJ Moore and getting my own pick back. Yeah, I love getting a first pick. I did just trade away DJ Moore, but I know that he's on the up and up, and OBJ has been not himself with the Browns. Do you actually see him staying with the Browns next year?
I do, but I don't know if I ever see OBJ, although he looked, and I do believe that he has elite level ability. Mm-hmm. I don't know if I ever see him reaching the, how would I put this? he was on a trajectory, right, to start his NFL career that
Mhm.
he was going to be an all-time great. Like, I mean, he was averaging like 90 yards receiving and almost a touchdown per game
Yeah.
on a per-game basis. That was what he was averaging through the first 3 years of his NFL career, with Eli Manning with one foot in a coffin in his NFL career to start. And I thought it was a Hall of Fame campaign that he was going to be building, because you saw and see the elite level talent. You see the ability to be able to just fluidly run and break people off on routes. Like, he's
Yeah.
one of the best in.
He's an amazing athletic talent, and there are a few that match him at the position,
Right.
especially even right now. It just sucks that he is not being utilized. It's like they just don't know how. Did they just not get the manual? Did the paperwork just not transfer when they traded him, so they don't know how to operate Odell Beckham? I just don't understand.
And I'm not going to try to figure it out, though. Like, so if I'm an OBJ owner and I can get a high ceiling prospect at wide receiver back, along with the 101 in what should be a very strong draft class.
Oh, yeah.
100%. I'm all about that.
You totally won this trade.
Yeah. I mean, if you're asking me, I think Odell Beckham Jr., and I know that you traded your other 2021st, that's going to be 5 or 6. That's whatever. But if you're trading up OBJ for DJ Moore, and then you get that number 1 pick, though.
The 1-for-1.
You get the cream of the crop in this strong draft class.
Yeah.
Or you can trade that for other assets.
Oh, sure.
Then,
especially in Dynasty. I mean, there's just so much value with that first pick. This past year, I got the first pick, and I had to fight for that pick. We always compete for the first in that league. It was a drinking game, along with, they made us take the what's that test? The Wonderlick. They made us take the Wonderlick test. God, and it was horrible. And I had 2 first picks, so I had to take it twice. And I did horrible. Horrible. But despite that, I ended up with the number 1 because I drank better than that they did. So that makes it okay.
That does make it okay.
That does make it okay. I'm not smart, but I can drink. So there is that. I've got that.
Tommy, I thought you won the trade, though. Well done, man.
No, totally won the trade. Will with one for us. Thank you, Will. And thank you, Will, as being our personal PR assistant for the fantasy debate.
No,
you are
we need to start sending Will like some money on PayPal or something for all that he's doing on Twitter, man. Thanks, man. We appreciate all the love.
You've been awesome. All right, half-point PPR, pick 3. Juju, Lockett, John Brown, Ty Williams, Deebo Samuel, Jarvis Landry, or Jamison Crowder.
So I don't know. I'm going to raise my hand. How in the hell can anybody sit John Brown right now? And regardless of whoever unless you have Michael Thomas and like Chris Godwin and Mike Evans, how can you sit John Brown? He's the only other player other than Michael Thomas all season long to have 50 or more receiving yards in every single game.
I mean, maybe it's only a question because the others have decent matchups, and so he wants to make sure he's playing the best matchup. Devil's advocate.
Definitely devil's advocate. I can understand the flip side of the coin. But John Brown is producing like a wide receiver 1. At the very least, a wide receiver 2, a floor that you can take to the bank every single week. And for that reason, that's why I don't. So picking 3 out of these 3, Will, I'm definitely going John Brown. I'm staying away from Juju. He's hurt. Lockett's even kind of dinged up right now.
Juju I don't think Juju's not going to play. There was notification today that he's not going to play. I mean, not only is he suffering from a concussion, but his knee's dinged up. I mean, they have an MRI and everything's fine. He doesn't need surgery. It's not season ending, but he's not going to play this week. Yeah,
I'm staying away from Juju. I'm going, like, if Lockett's healthy, I go with Lockett. But just because we're early in the week right now, I'll say just in case Lockett doesn't play, my other 2 that I would start are going to be Jamison Crowder. I know that's going to sound shocking, but I like the matchup against the Raiders. 5 catches, 75-plus yards, and a touchdown each of the last 3 weeks. And then I want to go with Jarvis Landry. But if Emmanuel Sanders is not a go, Deebo Samuel. Deebo Samuel's been tearing it up.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with you there. I mean, and I have Ty Williams in a league, and he has been up and down and so inconsistent. And I mean, at least you got half-point PPRC. At least you get something for the maybe 1 to 2 catches he gets, but he's just not been as consistent. So I'm going to err on the side of caution as well, saying that, I mean, we know Juju's not going to play. Pretty sure Lockett's not going to play. definitely going to have to go John Brown. I'm going to go John Brown, Landry, and Crowder.
Okay. I mean, there's nothing wrong with Landry either.
Yeah.
Baker's actually seemed like he's been playing pretty well over the last couple of weeks, so I'm fine with Landry as well.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Nick, another one for us. I've been a Josh Allen truther all season, but I just can't take the risk with that playoff schedule. We don't blame you. You gotta go with your gut, and you gotta go with whoever's got the best schedule. And I think that it goes people to forget too easily, I think, to look at the schedule and to look at the matchup when it comes to someone like a quarterback at that position, at least that far in the rankings. You got to go with the odds. The odds got to be in your favor, right?
The fantasy gods need to be in your favor, no matter what.
Yeah, it's otherwise, it's just not going to.
May the force be with you always.
All right, Dennis with another one for us. I have some more for you. Kicker. Koo, Gay, I will drop Zerline, and upcoming matchups are horrible. Koo, that's the guy that's got the weirdest name, right?
Young Ho Koo.
Yeah. Start him just based on his name.
How is the name better than Matt Gay?
Because it's harder to say the other one. It's got a ho in
it. For argument purposes, Sam, geez Louise. I'm gonna go with Matt Gay. I'm going Matt Gay on this one. He's got a hell of a leg, and the Bucks, say what you will, they're gonna have to put up some points. They always do because their defense sucks.
Yeah, I mean, you can't beat that logic right there from the true Bucks fan who knows his kicker better than anyone. It's got to be Derek Tate. And Nick is at least drinking with us. I'm drinking the legendary Cold Mountain Winter Ale. Cheers, sir. Cheers.
Do you know where that is?
Where that is? No.
According to Asheville's original brewery, in December of 1994, when downtown Asheville was but sleeping, Highland rolled out its first kegs from the basement to the alley. That's what it is.
Gotcha.
That's where it comes from, where it originates from.
And Tommy, I don't need much of an excuse to drink week 12.
Oh, Tommy, you got it.
Well done. We're gonna have a lineup of these.
The equivalent of Anchorman. If you put it on the teleprompter, she will read it.
Tyler with another one. I'm drinking water because sobriety, but I still drink on week 12. Drink.
Oh, no.
Cheers, Tyler.
All right, Nick Bird. Jameis can throw 4 picks and still get 20 fantasy points. Actually, that is true.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's absolutely true. Because volume.
Nick, wait, you're basically burning me as a Bucks fan with lit cigarettes on my arm right now. Thank you very much for rubbing that in. But yes, he is still a fantasy relevant quarterback despite being an asshat of a quarterback that ruins the hopes and dreams of my beloved franchise. So,
ruiner.
Playoffs? Talking about playoffs?
Playoffs?
Just trying to win a game. I actually personally like the soundbite from Jim Mora more so, where he goes, well, we just went out there today and we just got our asses totally kicked. Our offense sucked. Our defense sucked. We didn't do diddly poo offensively. We just got our asses totally kicked.
Diddly poo?
Please go ahead and YouTube search Jim Mora. Like one of the best coach rants of all time. That guy just is a soundbite machine.
My goodness. And Tommy Garrett, I can't help but wonder how good Tampa Bay could have been this year. Is JW could cut his turnovers in half, even with all of them still has produced wide receiver 2, 3 in PPR.
You're 100% correct. I mean, he has 18 interceptions thrown in 10 games? 10. He's averaging nearly 2 interceptions.
So bad.
But
God,
Tommy, I 100% agree with you because this man shows high-level quarterback acumen as far as being able to throw with anticipation, throw on time, and this is all with a porous offensive line and a shoddy running game at best. And he shows plus-level ability, and then all at the same time, like middle school, little league decision-making all in the same game, like a series later or a play later. It's very maddening to watch Jameis Winston play quarterback because he shows you so much good, and then in the same very breath and the same very drive, so much bad.
Yeah, it just tugs at the heartstrings right there. It's like is
My
he just
heartstrings.
is Jameis Winston like
you don't give a shit?
I don't have heartstrings. I don't have a heart. But do you see Jameis Winston as being like the Sour Patch Kid commercials where they're sour and sweet, but then they go back to sour?
I mean, that's a very weird comparison.
Or is it accurate?
I mean, it's somewhat accurate. I mean, there's some times where I'm like, yeah, Jameis Winston, this is what we expect. You're amazing. And then
you're amazing. And then as soon as you hit the G in amazing, he throws an interception.
No, the next play, what he'll do is he'll pump fake twice on a quick screen and then get stripped for a lost fumble. That actually happened this year. He pump fake on a quick screen twice.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's all.
It's all good stuff. Dennis with another one for us. Thanks for all these questions, Dennis.
It's all stuff, but it's not all good. But anyway, continue.
All right. Well, Dennis is suffering from some injuries. Emmanuel Sanders should be fine, or you still think Deebo Samuel. What about Deontay Freeman, T.Y. Hilton? Drop them or hope for good games until weeks 14, 15, 16? I wouldn't drop Freeman or Hilton because both of them have injuries that are week to week and tentative. And it sounds like T.Y. is actually going to come back this week. Sounds like.
You got to ask yourself, and maybe give us a little bit more context, Dennis, in the comments. Who are you potentially picking up to drop after you mentioned DeVante Freeman and T.Y. Hilton?
Well, maybe it's one of the quarterbacks that he mentioned before that he was looking to pick up.
Maybe, but please clarify that because we need to know because I don't. Depending on your league and what the format is, the size, et cetera, that can weigh into the decision you're making on these two players. And also where you're sitting in the standings. Yeah. If you're already clinched a playoff spot and you are just waiting for the playoffs, then that's one thing. But if you need to win this week, and if you lose this week regardless, then it doesn't matter you have those two players on your bench. Then that makes them more droppable to me. So if you can provide like a little bit more information and context, I'd love to be able to help you out with it.
Sure. And back to Emmanuel Sanders too. I mean, I know he's questionable. He's dealing with a rib injury. It might be something where he goes to start, he gets hit once, and then he's out the rest of the game.
You're vibing with Debo. If you have Debo, I'm starting Debo right now. I mean, he's had 2 back-to-back games. And last week he was seeing plenty of Patrick Peterson. And Patrick Peterson, even though he's a little bit he's certainly not what he was in his prime, but he's still a damn good player. So, I mean, I'm fine starting Deebo Samuel unless you have great other options.
Yeah, absolutely. Victor with one for us. It's a tight end question. Njoku or Everett? I could pick up Griffin off from the waivers.
I'm going Everett. Right now, I mean, you mentioned that Brandon Cooks may be back. I mean, I'm assuming Robert Woods will be back too, but Everett's been pretty consistently involved in this offense regardless this season. I've really liked what I've seen from Gerald Everett this year. So I know he's got a tough matchup this week. Certainly the Baltimore Ravens, I think that their strength is at the cornerback spot though. As far as in coverage. I mean, he may see some of Earl Thomas, but I'm going to be okay with Gerald Everett. I think they'll be fine.
Yeah, no, I agree on Gerald Everett. I know Njoku's supposed to be coming back this week, but I feel like Baker Mayfield has enough difficulty finding consistency with the guys who have been there all season, let alone finding a target in someone he hasn't seen. So he might not even recognize Njoku on the field because Baker's not necessarily been the best this week. So I would definitely agree and go with Everett there. And then Will with another question for us, a little off topic, but we love these. Favorite Thanksgiving side? Mine is green bean casserole. What is your favorite Thanksgiving side?
Oh, 100%. It's bacon, macaroni, and cheese. Bacon mac.
I can't argue with that. I mean, if that was a staple at mine, I would probably pick that one too, but it's not a staple at mine. That sounds awesome though. I feel like I need to make that this year.
I mean, it's not very hard.
No, you just put bacon in your mac and cheese.
Yeah.
And you're a winner.
But it's a winning combination.
Yeah, I mean,
the new peanut butter and jelly. Don't be peanut butter and jealous.
Don't be
of my favorite side.
You know, I hear the debate go back and forth between stuffing and mashed potatoes too for Thanksgiving, and
So, you mean It's all good.
It's all good, just in one big pile. And I don't know about you guys, but my family's really big on gravy, so I just pour a ton of just boats of gravy all over my stuff.
I don't agree with that. I actually like to
do you quarantine your food in corners?
I like to quarantine my portions and everything that's on my plate. I don't want my shit all just into one big heaping mess. I don't.
You just don't enjoy fun, do you? Because then you get a little bit of this,
from the person who like Christmas. So yeah, I don't enjoy fun.
You also don't eat your vegetables. Do I need to go there?
Move on. I have 3. And by the way, also, Will, that's actually a very good question. If anybody that's that's still joining us with it right now, please go ahead and let us know what your favorite Thanksgiving side is in the comment section. Please.
Yeah.
Join in on the conversation. Join in with us. We want to know. Yeah. Tommy, I have 3 firsts in this year's upcoming rookie draft. So that 101 pick, very valuable. 100% agree, dude. Loaded draft class. You can get the number 1 pick, and then you have another couple other ones to really rebuild your squad. Freaking love it, dude. Also, more injury questions from Dennis. Just saw Beckham groin, Lindsey foot, Devontae Adams toe, and limited practice. You will know more. Half-point PPR. Look, those guys, especially Devontae Adams, the dude just dropped 100 yards receiving in his last game. Don't worry about it. They're just playing. They're giving him limited time. Why push it on Wednesday, the first practice of the week, when you have a Monday night football? Or is it Sunday night? It is Sunday night football. But don't push it right now. It's Wednesday. Get a full practice in on Friday. That's fine.
Yeah.
Victor,
no, I agree.
If you had to break a snowman that was just built or steal a child's Hollywood candy, Tate, we know you would. Which one would I prefer to do, though, Victor? Having never built a snowman, I would totally be jealous if I walked by and a kid had this perfectly built Frosty the Snowman. I'd go up and just destroy it with a right cross. You're damn right I would. And then watch that kid cry home.
Yeah. Yeah, I got to agree. I'm going to go break the snowman as well for myself. Tyler with one for us. My wide receiver spots are Thomas and Godwin. I have Lamar as QB and Tucker for my kicker. Should I use Hollywood in my flex for possibility of an 11-point TD play, or rotate through Sanu and Singletary?
I'm going to go Singletary. You've seen enough from Devin Singletary and his involvement. I mean, this game was in Miami, right? And Frank Gore is like on his last leg. He's from Miami, played at the University of Miami. If there was a week that they were going to give him a swan song to get a ton of work and show out and probably in front of a bunch of his family members, I think it would have been this week. But we've seen, I think, the transition. Even though Devin Singletary put the ball on the ground 2 times last week, he didn't lose any of those fumbles, but he did fumble twice. So keep an eye on that. But for me, I am going to go – I'm going to stay away from Hollywood Brown because I don't think he's fully healthy. He wasn't on the field for a ton of snaps this past week.
No, I think he's got some lingering issues. And I think for the volume, for the big playability, I got to agree with you there and go Singletary as well, just for that consistency. I'm sure that Sanu is going to have one amazing catch, and you're going to think that we were absolutely wrong. But, I mean, you got to go with the higher floor with Singletary there for sure.
We got Nick Bird. Oh, don't mess with my board, Sam.
I thought I was driving the ship.
All right, you are driving the ship. I'll jump off.
Nick Bird, favorite Thanksgiving side, sweet potato cranberry casserole. That sounds bomb. I love
very good.
Sweet potato. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, sweet potato, anything rules.
I love also hearing, I feel like Thanksgiving's the holiday that you hear a bunch of random traditional foods that are not common for everyone else's Thanksgiving. Like for me, I just learned that you have bacon mac and cheese at yours. I'm learning the culture of your people, Derek.
Well, the culture of the Tate house is not the one to take the temperature of. Again, they want me doing like, Braveheart imitations. So, I mean.
Yeah, and my family, we always go to the pub before we eat. So we're always just, a little bit gone by the time we eat dinner. And then we all go to sleep.
Let me tell you something about my life. I am 35 years old. I am divorced. And I live in a van down by the river. Sorry.
Anyways, and Victor has your back here. Tate with the brew history. Once a legend, always a legend.
Don't you dare skip over my boy Choby giving us the thumbs up. That's just simple. Say, I approve of this fantasy debate episode.
Thank you for that like. And Fredly for us again, PPR, Ingram or Jared Cook at tight end.
Jay Cook all day. Ingram's dealing with an injury. He's been out for a while. I'm going with Jay Cook.
Absolutely, yeah. You just want to go with that consistency. Breeze, again, on a mission. He's going to be targeted a lot.
Cook was great this past week, too, against Tampa Bay.
Oh, yeah, he's been fantastic. Thanks for shining some light on a boring Wednesday night. Other than football, what is your go-to sport to watch? Victor with the zinger for us here. Is there other sports besides football? I feel like this time of year I forget.
I'm an NBA guy. I don't mind going and watch and keeping up with the NBA. I mean, granted, do I watch every single game? No, I don't. But I do enjoy the hardwood. I mean, some of the basketball players are some of the best athletes in the world. I mean, the fact that they can continuously run around a lot of times at full speed for a 48-minute game. And some of the things, these guys are so tall and they are so fluid and agile. I mean, I marvel at some of the guys that are, I mean, LeBron James, 6'8", 260, and moves quicker and faster than I ever did when I was a decent athlete back in the day. Like, I just marvel at that. So
no, they're absolutely amazing athletic marvels. And yeah, if I had to pick a sport outside of football, absolutely it would be basketball. And I'm a Lakers fan. Have been, always will be. And yeah, it's awesome that they're doing so well. It's fun. Finally see the team sinking, which is nice. We just had to pay a lot for it, but that's okay. That's kind of like what I did with my dynasty team this year. You just
sold your soul
to win. You sell your soul to win, and sometimes it's worth it. That makes it okay. Will Jenkins, another question for us. Thanks, Will. Better play this week: Carr versus the Jets, Winston versus the Falcons, or Driskel versus Washington?
If we're going by pure matchups, it's Driskel.
Yep.
I hate to say it because the Falcons have actually played very good defense over the last 2 weeks. Mm-hmm. They put it on Carolina last week, which it kind of exposed Kyle Allen. And then the week before that, Drew Brees was healthy, and they had Kamara, and they still
smoked them.
We put it on the Saints.
Annihilated them. Absolutely. I mean, I feel like the Falcons kept reading the news and saying they had no defense. They're like, guys, do you think we can turn this around this week? And they're like, yeah, I think we can. And then they just completely did a complete right turn and somehow fixed it. I mean, we say that now, who knows what next week brings, but they've been playing really well. Again, for this matchup base, I agree we'd have to go Driskel because Washington has no legs to stand on. It's been a complete abomination. The only thing they have going for them is Montez Sweat has been getting a lot of great Old Spice ads because of his name. That's about it.
We just saw Sam Darnold tune up this Washington defense for 293 yards through the air and 4 passing touchdowns.
Yeah.
So Driskel, who has had 2 games as the starter under center, 17 fantasy points, and then 27, and had a fantastic game against the Dallas Cowboys defense. Dallas Cowboys are likely going to the playoffs. I mean, I know the Philadelphia Eagles have something to say about that, but I mean, 200-plus yards passing, 35 yards plus rushing each of his first 2 starts, and 4 total touchdowns to only 1 interception for Jeff Driskel against the Washington Redskins. I'm going Driskel. I know that sounds crazy.
It's not crazy. It's sports. It makes it okay. And I have that written on an ESPN coaster.
That was good. That was good. Well played.
Dennis with a little bit more background for us on his team. I'll drop Josh Allen for Breeze. Good move. 4 people fighting for 3 playoff spots. Half-point PPR. Need to win this week or next week. Need 1 game. Just need that one. Hopefully we get you that one.
I mean, but you do that for Breeze.
Yeah, sure. Absolutely for Breeze.
Sure. I know Josh Allen had a great week, but you do that for Breeze for me.
Yeah. So. Friendly Jimenez with his take on sides. Potato salad.
Tater salad.
Tater salad.
Tater salad. How dare you say potato when my last name is Tate and we even have it in the name of the damn show? Come on, bud. Put it in there. I'm kidding.
Tater salad.
I love you, Fredley. I'm just kidding.
Tommy Garrett, I'm going to go with probably stuffing as my favorite side, but I kind of mix it all together. See? I got Tommy on my side on the mixing things on the plate. I love it.
It's fun. A lot of the real side like to mix. A lot of folks like to mix everything up into one heaping gravy-filled mess. That's fine.
And you're a sociopath that needs to eat one thing.
I have no qualms. No issues. I do want to ask. I know that we got a couple other questions to go, but I'm going to hit you with these questions real quick, and I even want our listeners to go ahead and sound off in the comments. Mm-hmm. I want you to tell me whether you would trust starting this person this week if you need a win to be able to stay alive or punch your ticket to the fantasy playoffs. Would you start this player? I'm gonna go rapid fire, Sam.
Okay.
Jonthan Williams this week versus the Houston Texans. No Marlon Mack, and he ran for 100 yards last week. Do you trust him this week?
Yes, I trust him this week because, again, we're basing this on the fact that this is a must-win situation. You have no better options, and you need that guy in your flex. And, yeah, I would go with Jonthan Williams.
I'm going with Jonthan Williams as well. Look, this Houston Texans defense is not the same without J.J. Watt. They gave up over 250 yards rushing to the Baltimore Ravens this past week. Gus Edwards tuned them up to 120 yards rushing. So Jonthan Williams, who I think is going to be the primary ball carrier, I think you can trust him this week.
Yeah,
so,
I agree with that.
Next one, Brian Hill. He's facing off against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Last week had a touchdown called back. 15 carries, though, 30 yards, and 1 reception. Would you trust starting him this week?
No, I would not, because I accidentally trusted him last week, and it was a bad move. I needed that win last week, and I had him in my flex. I'm not trusting him this week, especially against the Buccaneers, who have one of the best run-stopping units in the league. So I'm not going to trust him. I would pick Jonthan Williams over Brian Hill this week.
One of the best. They have the best on as far as yards.
I just can't give you that. I mean, it's your team. I can't give you that.
You should.
It's one of the best. He's in the top. They're on the top 2.
Humble yourself. So it's a Hill. No, you're not starting Brian Hill. Please don't do it against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers unless you just have no one else that's going to be seeing any sort of touches and you're in that sort of position at the running back spot. So next, well, I mean, do we have any other fantasy questions? I'm considering dropping. We'll go back to Dennis Steven before we get into some of the other questions.
Okay.
I'm considering dropping injured guys, Freeman, Hilton, Sanders, maybe Kareem Hunt, Tyrell Williams, for possibly Slayton Shepherd, Aguilar, Alshon, maybe Fuller. New York Giants and Philadelphia Eagles both have A-plus matchups. So, I mean, you're considering dropping a couple. I mean, if you're asking for a specific one, I mean, could we be a little bit more specific, Dennis? Am I the only one that feels like I'm struggling to process exactly what he's asking?
I mean, I think that we've said week 12 a lot. So we've been, we've had a couple drinks, but
oh, crud.
But no, I mean, I feel like also, I mean, just back to Dennis's really quickly. I think that when you need to drop players that have a more significant injury than just a ticky-tack injury. If these are week-to-week ones, I feel like you shouldn't be letting go of them too soon. And I feel like Sanders, he's bruised. He's going to be okay. Hilton, he's on the up and up and going to be coming back soon. And then that's your number 1. So I would maybe have more caution on a couple of those just because when they do come back, they're immediate number 1s. Just for me. I mean, yeah. But also, I don't know. I feel like it's too late in the season to be juggling too many people.
Agreed.
And that many moves. But Tyler, pub before Thanksgiving dinner. Sam, can I come to your Thanksgiving with you?
Or yeah. No, I mean that does sound like a lot of fun if you all go to a pub before actual Thanksgiving. That's
we're English. Half my family's English, so that's what we do. We gotta go to the pub. It's like part of our bloodline. We just gotta do it.
So you're English, but you dressed up as William Wallace one year as a Scottish native.
Dad wasn't very happy, but that's okay.
So we got Tommy Garrett. What's your funniest Thanksgiving moments? I'll let you start.
Funniest Thanksgiving moment. Well,
by the way, we have to mention his because a brawl that happened one year, and the year my grandma got drunk and asked if I was gay because I don't have a girlfriend. Week 12.
Ooh.
We have to drink to that.
Yeah, that was
all kinds of information. We
was amazing.
We have to drink to that.
That was fantastic. And with that, I have to open up my next White Claw. Yeah, I've got one ready. Okay, so
yeah.
I'm pretty sure this was Thanksgiving last year. My brother's girlfriend got her wisdom teeth out late. So she was a little chubby bunny with all swollen cheeks. And we just kept taking pictures and video with her as she was trying to slurp down food while it was going down her face. We were just sitting there taking selfies with her. Ashley, look over here. She's just smiling, just so happy because she's all drugged up. And she's like, I can't eat. It hurts. It was adorable. So that has to, I think, be my favorite of recent times for Thanksgiving. It was fantastic.
That's actually that's good. That's good.
Sam and Tate twice a week. Do you guys want to see us twice a week?
No, I agree. You're not going to let me tell my Thanksgiving moment?
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's rude. It's rude. Anyway, point is, so after I did aforementioned Braveheart imitation, the entire, speech or whatever, Everybody starts to filter out. And my dad, he's, kind of big, burly, like old school, he likes tests of man strength, rite of passage type shit, and starts trying to say, well, look, I'm still the top dog. I'm the alpha male in this house to my little brother. I want to do UFC moves, see who can choke who out first.
Oh, God.
And my little brother, which by the way, trains in jiu-jitsu, put my dad in a full headlock and had him had both of his hooks in with his legs and had my dad in a chokehold. And I'm like, Jordan, I'm like sitting here going, I'm already pretty drunk as hell. And I'm like, we need to stop this now. Like,
how did this escalate so quickly?
I have my father and my brother like in a full-on jiu-jitsu match on the ground. And there's nothing. I'm sitting here with a drink in my hand. I'm like, what am I going to do about this? What, Randy Macho Man Savage, somebody like elbow drop somebody off the top of the dinner table? No, like, come on, guys. Anyway, I thought that was pretty good. There's a couple other stories too, but yeah, my dad being choked out by my little brother was a good one.
That sounds like a pretty good story. I like the violence; it makes it fun, and the drinking. Oh God, my roommate's gonna come home and be like, "What were you doing? I thought you had a podcast."
We did. It went really well.
It went great. It was fantastic.
Victor, Sam, and Tate twice a week. You already mentioned that. And Fredley, love you too, Tate. Can I have some love from Sam as well? Sam,
we love you. Fredley, I love you.
Dude, you're easily one of the best commenters on the fantasy debate with Sam and Tate. We absolutely love all the interaction, but you're here every week, dude. So we love you. Wide receiver, PPR pick 2. John Brown, Gallup, or Cortland Sutton?
Ooh. Well, we both know we're both going to go John Brown. So I guess the question really is Gallup or Sutton.
Sutton all day. It's a bad matchup against New England. Why would you go Gallup when Sutton's been like a damn wide receiver top 15 the entire season?
Sutton's got Buffalo too, though.
And what did DeVante Parker do to Tre'Davious White?
Sure.
Tuned him up for what was it? 7 for 135? I'm just saying Sutton has seemed to be matchup
proof.
Matchup proof, yeah. I mean, matchup immune.
Yeah. Yeah, all right. I'll agree with you there. Just looking at the numbers.
Yeah, thanks for agreeing with me.
Well, I don't fully trust you until I make sure I read all the stuff.
You know it to be true.
Not all the time. But right. Fredley, we got you there. We got John Brown and we got Cortland Sutton for you.
So I want to go ahead and ask, though. I mean, this is another question that some of y'all can listen to or at least sound off in the comments. In fact, you know what, Sam? You go ahead and you've been driving the ship the entire time. Here I am. I'm just trying to like take control of the wheel. I'm like the passenger. I'm a backseat driver. So
yeah, you are a backseat driver.
Go ahead. I'll bite my lip and shut up. You go ahead and lead the way.
Wait, you started to lead, and now I don't know where you want me to drive the ship.
All right.
You just said you have a turn ahead, and I'm like, wait, where's the turn? I don't understand.
I'm like a Scottish GPS. There's your turn. You fucking missed it, you idiot. Take another right turn. Take another right turn. Oh, deja vu. I do feel like a Scottish GPS would be very honest, though.
Well, Tommy agrees with us. Going back to that Sutton call, got to go Sutton. His target share since the Sanders trade is phenomenal.
100%. Tommy,
absolutely.
You're my boy. Tommy boy.
And then another wonderful one of our favorite questions, which totally leads us off the rails. Victor with favorite blockbuster movie of 2019. Can we agree The Rock is a terrible actor?
No. Oh, we can't agree on that, dude. Absolutely not. Victor, I'm so disappointed. I love you, but I'm disappointed because absolutely not, man. I based my entire childhood off The Rock and being able to do the people's eyebrow. If you smell. No, The Rock is a passable actor. Am I saying he's, Leonardo DiCaprio? No. But is he a horrible, terrible actor? That's a little harsh. Come on. He's passable. And he's got so much freaking charisma. Come on.
So much freaking charisma. And I think favorite blockbuster movie of 2019, Avengers Endgame.
Oh, 100%.
Hands down. Not only does it take the box office title, but it takes the title in all of our hearts. It was
That's America's ass.
America. That's America.
I like when Captain America says that's America's ass.
No, I mean it's amazing. He just
if you've seen the movie, then you know what scene I'm referencing. I'm trying to leave spoilers out of it, but that's a good one-liner.
Okay, people should have seen this by now. It's on every plane. I've been on a couple of planes since then, and I watched it on both plane flights that I could because I was like, you know what? I don't care how short this plane ride is. I'm going to watch it.
But you always have to be cognizant of the people that have not yet seen something. Come on.
Well, I feel like there is definitely some time. Like, I will not say anything about The Mandalorian until, we're in November. I'm not going to say anything about it until January because that gives plenty of time for people to get caught up on it. I think there's like a statute of limitations when you can talk about these things. And Avengers Endgame was the beginning of the year.
I think the statute of limitations should apply like after a significant amount of time has passed. A month or 2 months is not significant.
2 months is plenty. This world is traveling fast enough.
Mind. I think it's just now safe to talk about how Darth Vader is the father of Luke Skywalker.
What?
Funny. Week 12.
Oh, jeez. Too good.
Oh, anyway. All right. So
Tommy agrees with me. Anything other than Endgame is wrong. Abso-freaking-lutely.
It was fantastic. And I'm not going to lie. The one scene that caught me off guard was actually in the very beginning of the movie that involved Thor and Thanos.
Yeah. That was a really great scene.
Took a little off the top. Just a little. All right, so I like how Dennis said we're going to get to a comment that just popped up here in a second, and I will. I've got something ready for you, Dennis. Stay put. Stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
I'll tell you what, man. Go ahead and stay tuned.
Fredley's on my side. Sam has spoken.
Oh, Fredley. Choosing sides, are we, here on the fantasy debate? I mean, it is the fantasy debate.
You got to.
You got two sides.
I feel like people should be on your side. People should be on my side. I should have more people on my side, but that's just, my opinion.
Okay, then more specific. Would you drop Kareem Hunt or Tyrell Williams for weeks 13 through 16 for Slayton and Shepard, Aguilar, Alshon, when he'll be healthy, Fuller, Brandon Cooks, and Mike Williams? Would I drop Kareem Hunt or Tyrell Williams for Slayton or Shepard? I would be okay dropping Kareem Hunt. I know he's been involved in the passing game, and that's all well and fine, but I think Shepard's going to see a nice volume of targets.
Yeah.
A nice, consistent volume of targets. I wouldn't do it for Slayton, though.
No.
Definitely not Tyrell Williams.
No. And Brandon Cooks being back, I feel like Brandon Cooks is going to help open up the Rams offense a lot. I agree with you on Shepard. I just think for my second one of those would be Brandon Cooks because I feel like he's going to see some more volume because they just have to open up that offense and they're going to have to do it through him.
I'm okay with that. Yeah.
Bingo.
Yahtzee.
If you haven't seen it by now, I have no pity for you. Thank you.
You and Tommy get along very well.
See? I got people on my side. That's all that matters. I just like it when people agree with me.
That's fine.
Tyler with Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, by far my favorite.
I gotta see that.
I haven't seen that either, so definitely need to get on that. But I also still haven't seen the Joker, which I'm just mad about. I feel like I'm just dragging my feet. I feel like it's more important that I watch the Joker.
How would you feel? Because it's been out for over a month now. Like if I were to just go, tell you all the main spoiler things about Joker, that would probably chap your ass a little bit if I ruined it for you.
Maybe. I was just about to say something from The Mandalorian, but I'm not going to. It'd be like finding out blank.
Yes, absolutely. Piss me off for a movie that you haven't seen yet. Yes.
Yeah, no, but that would suck. But you just gotta give a couple months. 3. Can we meet in the middle somewhere around 3 months on like a blockbuster movie? A movie like Avengers Endgame had so much hype, so many other movies that led to it, that if you didn't rush out to see it and you were like, I'm just gonna wait for it to come out on Netflix, it's your fault if you get spoiled.
So Dennis wanted me to go ahead and finish my tipsy rock improv.
All right, I'll drink while you do that.
Now, on to badass Sam Holt. Now, you walk around acting like you just won King of the Ring, and that's supposed to be something that's very, important to me. God damn it, I forgot. I normally have to practice these type of promos beforehand. I can't do it off the top of my head. I apologize, Dennis, on the spot. I've done some good rock improvs before, but I can't do it off the top of my head. So I drew a blank here, and I forgot the one that he cut on Badass Billy Gunn. So I was going to go ahead and cut that on Sam, but
it's okay.
We're a little blank on some of the lines. So I'm not.
Well, next time you'll just have to open us up with a rock quote next week.
That's fine. That's fine. I'll cut a promo on you next week.
There you go. And Leonidas with a fun fact: my 2-year-old, his son is named Anakin. I love that. That's so cute.
Anakin did rule. I mean, Anakin Skywalker, even though he was played by a whiny little crybaby and Hayden Christensen, I mean, he turned into Darth Vader, which is the most menacing, villain of all time. So nothing wrong with naming your kid Anakin.
Yeah, absolutely. Way back, playback. Favorite childhood lunch to go-to snack. Ooh, this is a good zinger from Victor. Favorite childhood lunch go-to snack.
Oh, you're asking me? Gushers.
Oof, I was going to say Gushers too. And then I was like, no, you know what? I feel like I got more joy out of Cheetos.
I always hated how it left like the cheese on your cuticles. I hated that shit.
Cuticles specifically, your cuticles?
Well, like on my fingertips. Yeah, it was annoying. Like my fingernails and shit. Like I hated that. It awful.
Oh, I love that we at least both thought Gushers. That's important.
Well, yeah, I mean, I thought fruit by the foot ruled.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. We had a 90s party last month with my friends, and they had a whole bunch of fruit by the foots, and people were just wrapping them around their fingers all crazy. So much fun. Just like,
I mean, like crazy sugar high party. That fruit roll-ups had they pretty much sold every single 90s cartoon during that period of time. Like had the little cutouts of whatever characters were in those respective shows. I thought that was pretty badass. So
that was fun. And you could pull them out and stick them on your tongue.
Good. Or fruit, sorry.
Fruit by the foot?
Well, fruit by the foot was the long roll one, and then fruit roll-ups.
Yeah.
Had those,
so I liked fruit by the foot because you could grab one and then let it roll out and it looked like you had a giant tongue.
You know what I hated was the they weren't Kool-Aid, or maybe they were. They had like a little a little house on top, like you had to pop off or some shit, and like try to drink it down. That did not look good. But anyway,
it did not look good.
Hand gesture did not look good. But I mean, I always kind of thought that those were annoying. I always kind of was more of a Capri Sun type of guy.
Mm. Yep, those were really awesome. Nick Bird with The Lighthouse was a phenomenal movie, as was Parasite. I have not seen either of those. I'm out of the loop.
I don't want to lose a listener, but I haven't seen either of those either, Nick. I'm sorry.
Nick, I feel like we get along on so many things. Please don't let this.
Nick, I'm writing it down right now. The Lighthouse and Parasite.
I feel like I've heard about Parasite.
Unlike you, I'll actually do my homework and watch movies that
How
suggest to do.
Dare you? Okay, yeah. So if you're gonna watch both of those before we get back next week, and I'm gonna have to watch the National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. If one of us doesn't do our homework, there should be a punishment for this.
Oh, now that you didn't do your homework this past week and there was no punishment in place. So yes, of course, it's easy to say that now.
Yes, it is. Makes it way easier.
You have 3 movies to watch up until that point, because I'm not letting you off the hook for National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation.
I can't watch all 3 of those.
Your homework's already late for that shit. Now you have to, you're just...
Okay, no punishment necessary. We'll just get to it.
Cool. All right.
Tommy Garrett getting his pack on track. Thank you. Hunt stealing his cap due to Chubb's workload. I agree. I think we all agree. Nick Chubb has been fantastic. I mean, Kareem Hunt, you can see them finding ways to use him, but there still isn't enough trust there for Mayfield, let alone for the rest of fantasy owners.
I feel like it's maybe a tiny bit capped. I still think that Chubb's been just fine as far as his workload, his touches, and everything of that nature, even since Kareem Hunt's come back. And if anything, that offense seems to be showing a little bit more signs of life. So I'm okay with that.
Yeah. And Tommy Garrett, again, agreeing with me here. The difference is Endgame is a 10-year lead-up. Joker isn't the same kind of thing. Yes. You've had 10 years to get ready for Endgame. 10 years. That is a long time. That is significant. Definitely longer than any relationship I've had. So I'm more committed to the Avengers for sure.
Move on.
And Victor says, everyone, let's agree these two have great banter. I think we have good banter. I think
Thank you.
we're
Glad
fun.
to hear that.
We appreciate that.
It's better than just hearing Sam's awesome, because Sam is awesome.
Geez, Sam's the
I
best.
heard Sam was awesome all the time. I'm like, all right, well, this sucks.
Everyone's
I really
like,
need to do a good rock improv. Now I'm like so disappointed. Like I'm gonna have to like send Dennis a DM with the imitation that I did at a karaoke bar and cut a full promo via The Rock. So just
don't worry.
once upon a time did some decent shit as circa a terrible rock impersonator.
Don't worry, Dennis has got you. I'll call you up on the Rock Improv, some homework for Sunday's show. At least you know what's coming.
I already know.
You'll be ready. You'll be ready.
I got it.
Nick, I love this Joker. Rather than appealing to the general audience, they took a much more nuanced and intellectual psychological approach to this one. I've heard that.
Watch the damn movie, Sam. It's good. It's great, actually. Joaquin Phoenix was fantastic.
No, I heard he's basically just a shoe-in for the Oscar this year on that movie alone. Do you guys feel like Jonthan Williams is a trap, though? A lot of fab was spent, sure, but Wilkins practiced and Hines is the passing down running back. I mean, yes, Hines is the passing down running back, but I think just with the volume that he saw last week in Marlon Mack's broken hand, you got to go with the hot hand that's not broken.
I'm going to ask because the beginning of last season, right, we saw that Marlon Mack missed time with a hamstring injury, and we saw Jordan Wilkins do what with the opportunity he was given behind what ended up being a pretty good offensive line. Personally, Wilkins has never done anything, and it's no disrespect to him. I think he's a professional athlete. He's a very good at what he does, but as far as
guy,
he's not that guy. He's not that guy. To me, Jonthan Williams did enough last week and looked damn good. I always thought he was pretty damn good coming out of Virginia Tech, to be honest with you. I know that he split time with Alex Collins back in the day, but Williams looked like the guy I originally thought that he could be last week for one shining moment. And I think he's worth a start this week, even if your fantasy season's riding on the line. Yeah. I trust him.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I feel like the Texans defense, again, we mentioned this earlier in the show, has not been the Texans defense of years old. And yeah, for that reason, I agree. I'm going to put a little bit more trust in Jonthan Williams just because he seems to have that big play, the hot hand, and Wilkins hasn't done that in the past. So,
true.
Absolutely. And I just love when you guys go back and forth talking to each other in the comments. It makes it so much fun. And we'll take it as Victor. I agree. It's the absolute best. Yeah. Loving it.
Well, I'm flattered that you think it's the absolute best. I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Nick calling you out. Tate is slowly cussing more as he drinks.
Yeah, week 12.
You guys all know I'm on my second one of these, right?
Yeah. We're counting. Tommy Garrett, Doritos 3D needs
3D!
to come back. Tommy.
Love it.
Spot on, Tommy. 100%
Absolutely. Those were fantastic. Just brought a whole new level to the Doritos joy. It's the 3D ones. Brace yourselves, Tate. Both of those movies are deeper, dark, psychological thrillers. Tate, it sounds like you're going to need to grab a pillow. You're going to need some ice cream for this weekend. You got a lot to, power you through into Sunday.
Maybe some fruit by the foots.
Maybe some fruit by the foot. Maybe some Gushers. Maybe some double stuffed Oreos. Maybe just just pound in the sugar to just try and keep your happiness up.
Yeah, give me the feel goods.
Yes. And Victor with another one for us, a defensive question. Play Cleveland or Pittsburgh defense this week. I need this win to secure a bye. Now, I know I was banging the drum pretty hard last week for my Steelers defense, and we all know how that game went, so we don't need to talk about it. But the Steelers are playing the Bengals this week. You got to love that. And
Dolphins have shown signs of life. I'm going to go with the Steelers defense. Bengals
absolutely
still can't seem to get it figured out.
No, the Bengals have not figured out all year, and the Steelers are going to be playing mad. And I think that another divisional game, you guys are going to see some big defensive plays. I've got Cam Hayward, and I've got Minka Fitzpatrick in my IDP league, and I'm looking forward to some interceptions there. One last easier question for today. Thanks, Dennis. We appreciate it because, you got to go to bed. I think that Tate's past his bedtime too. But
I've heard.
Wait, it's 5:15 a.m. in EU? See, in Europe? Damn, that's early. Half point PPR, week 12 flex. Start 2 out of 3. Tyrell Williams, Kareem Hunt, or Zach Ertz. They'll all be around 8 to 12 points, I guess. Your call. Pick 2. I mean, based on what we said earlier about Kareem Hunt, I'm going to have to go Tyrell Williams and Zach Ertz.
I agreed. It has nothing to do with Kareem Hunt's talent. I just think opportunity. Opportunity knocks volume. And Ertz in specific with potentially no Alshon. Mm-hmm. They're banged up right now as far as the pass catching unit there for the Philadelphia Eagles. So for that reason, and Tyrell's still solid. So for those 2 reasons, I'm staying away from Kareem Hunt and going with those 2 options.
And let's help out Dennis too with your social media handles there. You can find Derek at DTater4 on all forms of social media. And in case you wanted to follow me too, you don't have to. But my Twitter handle is at Samantha R. Holt and on Instagram at Sam_awesome. So thanks, Dennis, for all your questions today. They've been awesome.
And I did put it in the comments, but
you did? Perfect.
Twitter user is DTater4. So
at DTater4. You're on all social media at DTater4.
On Instagram as well. So yeah.
Unless we talk about your burner accounts.
Oh, don't have any of those.
You were at Stephen A. Smith. No?
Ooh, Stephen B. Smith, actually. Close.
Leonid is keep Josh Gordon riding the bench for fantasy playoffs or drop for Jay Wilkins.
No, keep Josh Gordon.
Yeah.
I get that you want to be ahead of the curve, but I'm keeping Josh Gordon. They went to him on a couple crucial 3rd downs.
Yeah.
In the first, basically just showing up into the office, knows a minimal amount of the playbook. Now they had a bye week. I expect his role in the offense to expand.
Yeah, absolutely. And Tommy, I guess this is why we have so much in common. It seems like you're a Steelers fan as well. Don't even bring up last week's Steelers game. I'm still salty over this season. I'm salty too. It makes me sad.
Well, stop being butthurt, you Steelers fans, because Bucs fans have been used to taking L's for a long time.
Oh my gosh, that's like someone saying you're not allowed to be sad because I'm even more sad than you. That's not fair.
My life sucks more than yours.
My life sucks more than you. I had traffic this morning and it rained on my car and it just washed.
You live in Los Angeles. I live in Cadillac, Michigan.
Okay, that's like me complaining. That's like me complaining to you saying, "Oh my gosh, it's cold out." Like, what? It's like 70 here, and it's still like I'm like, I think I need a sweater today, and you've got like actual ice problems.
Well, Lottie freaking da. You may have to wear a sweater out there.
Another one to go off the rails. Thanks, Victor. Would you re-gift somebody's president or purposely ruin a birthday and tip a cake?
How can you re-gift somebody's president?
Maybe he means present and it's just an autocorrect.
Oh, okay.
Would you re-gift somebody's present or
you're right.
Purposely ruin and tip a cake? I mean, I know friends of mine that have been drunk and tipped cakes.
I think that Sam, with her Christmas hating ass, would definitely tip a cake rather than just re-gift. Or if she doesn't want to participate in any of the Christmas festivities, she may just say, okay, all gifts I get are going directly to other folks that I'm supposed to be obligated to buy gifts for. So it could go either way for Sam.
I like that you're giving my take for me. I appreciate you trying to analyze what my thoughts are. Actually, yeah, I guess I would rather re-gift somebody's present than ruin somebody's cake. Because, I mean, it's a cake. Everyone gets to enjoy the cake.
I mean, I
really
got to hate someone's ass if I'm going to tip their cake.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like, that is some diabolical, I hate you.
Was present.
Venom. Like, all right, was present. Yes. Thank you for.
Is re-gifting our president an option? I wish it was.
Send them to China or to Mexico.
It's here for you. We thought of you when we bought it. Will Jenkins, half point PPR. Hollister, Fells, or Everett? I'm going to go Hollister. Easy.
Hollister all day.
Easy Hollister. Absolutely. All day. This guy, got to love it. I mean, he's been fantastic. I mean, he had that amazing one-handed ground on that last game. That was, it's good stuff.
Dude, graduated from the David Tyree School of Catching the Football.
Yeah. Victor, someone dropped Shepard. I would have to.
Ooh. Well, I mean, I want Shepard on my roster, but it just depends on who you have to give up. I forget exactly who you were asking about. So someone dropped Shepard. Would you drop Anderson to pick him up? A couple questions or a couple comments down. give up Robbie Anderson for him, I probably would. I like Shepard's floor more.
Yeah, I agree with that. Totally. And Tommy with one for us. What's the betting odds Trubisky starts and finishes Sunday's game?
Oh my God.
I don't really want to take that bet because I know that they're blaming it on a hip pointer injury, which apparently, according to just the injury alone, is a very painful injury, and it's something that you have to manage. So I don't know that he's actually going to play. I know it's probably a BS thing, and he's just been benched, and they're blaming it on something, and that's where you're going with this. But I'm not going to bet that he starts, let alone finishes. And we all know how you feel about Chicago.
Well, it has nothing to do with Chicago. It just has to do with the fact that
I feel like we've talked about the whole franchise for so long.
I'm just saying this entire Bears organization protects this mofo for reasons unknown. Like literally they turn the TVs off at the Bears facility because he can't handle criticism from the media. So he doesn't want to hear it. So he said, turn the TVs off. When he's told and instructed not to answer questions from the media about a previous bad game. Mm-hmm. And then they don't even have the balls to go ahead and just straight bench him. They said that they took him out of the game because he has a hip pointer injury. Come on. I think it's complete crap. I think it's something where they just want to try to cover their ass and they want to go give Trubisky another week or two to see if they have any sort of future with him whatsoever. I mean, they invested a lot in this kid, the number 2 overall pick. They made a mistake. They know they made a mistake. They're doing everything they can not to move on from him. But the realization is this dude is not that guy.
Yeah.
Period.
He's not the guy. And then Leonidas with one for us. I have Murray on a bye and picked up Brissett. Start him against a pissed-off Houston defense or take a risk with Haskins. I don't think you want to take the risk with Haskins. You have to go with Brissett. I think Brissett's been far more consistent. And, I mean, despite the defense and the other defenses he's had a good fantasy year. I mean, I played him in one league, and he's been consistent. I mean, consistent middle of the road, but consistent. So I like that floor much better.
And he even played well against the Texans in their previous matchup.
Yeah, so I think it'll be fine there.
I think it is Brissett as much as Haskins. Who is Haskins playing again this week? I forget the exact matchup that he's playing for this week. It is the Lions, which is a very good matchup.
Yeah, so it is a good matchup.
However, I have to agree. I'm not going to put my season on the line with Dwayne Haskins.
It doesn't sound good.
No, it makes me
uncomfortable.
Yeah, it makes me nauseous even saying it. So no,
it's very uncomfortable.
And look, by the way, look at that dog in the for Leonidas in the it's a Doberman in the avatar.
Oh, I love puppers.
Now moving on.
Garrett
Hollister will bring you a win as well as a way to too much cologne.
Loud music in a dark room. I did actually work in the back stock room of Hollister after college. And those songs will stay in your head for months and months.
I think it's your soul.
Even years. Like, I will hear a song that I know was on that playlist while I was there, and I'm just taken back. Like, oof, they get you. They get you deep.
You were in a clothing retail store, though. I was a produce boy at a local supermarket in the southeast region of the United States called Publix, and it was great. They would ask me, "Hey, where's this dragon fruit from?" "Oh, it's from the depths of Southeast Asia and Vietnam in particular." Didn't know that. I completely made it up. I was the worst produce boy of all time.
Amazing. And Dennis has given us a follow. We appreciate that, Dennis. Dennis followed me on Instagram, requested to follow you, Tater, on Insta, so he can get the rock.
Yeah, baby, you're getting it.
Oh, absolutely. And then Victor calling himself out. Drinks cup. Sorry for the autocorrects. Thanks for everything. We got you, Victor. It's all right. We worked it out.
Drinks are catching up with me too. So
yeah, I know. Tate's been getting redder and redder as the day goes. Now it's no longer the lighting.
Continue, please.
And Tommy, say no to anything. Ohio State. I mean,
they're such assholes there that they tried to trademark the word "the."
The Ohio State. It's one of my least favorite things when they go ahead and introduce the offense and defense on Sunday night and Monday Night Football, and the player has to take 10 seconds to say the Ohio State. Like, come on.
It does chat my ass a little bit. It's
Like, come on, guys. Like, really? Why you
say
gotta
the Ohio State, and then but no, the Ohio State.
I preferred it when they said Wakanda forever.
That's pretty cool.
That was awesome. Victor, would you say Singletary over Aaron Jones this week?
No.
I hope not. No. I've got Aaron Jones in my Dynasty League, and I'm hoping he brings me a big W this weekend. So, no, I would not say Singletary over Aaron Jones.
I love me some Singletary, but no, that's going too far.
I mean, I get it, though. They've got a really tough matchup at San Francisco.
I mean, but Denver's not exactly screaming, "Oh, run all over me."
No. I don't think anyone screams that.
I don't know.
Maybe Washington.
That defense is in the NFL.
I think maybe Washington and Cincinnati scream that. Run all over me.
Definitely Cincy. I mean, did you see Lamar Jackson dismiss 3 defenders with a spin move?
Yeah.
Yeah. Cincinnati's run all over me.
It's insane. And Nick, Stefania said it's rare to take a player out over a hip pointer. It's usually just a pain tolerance, and most players choose to play through it. Sounds like a lot of BS to me. Yeah, I mean, you heard it from the best. Like Stefania is brilliant. So
it's complete horror.
It is. So, and I think you could even hear it in her voice too. I heard it on today's podcast for her. She was saying like, yeah, it can be painful, but you could hear her not wanting to say, they just benched him.
You know what she's doing? She's being incredibly professional and riding that line.
Absolutely.
Stefania Bell works for ESPN, so I understand why she takes that approach. Guess what? Fantasy focused with an ED, we don't have to do that shit. So I'm going to go ahead and call it how I see it, which is a crock of shit. They benched Mitchell Trubisky's ass as they should have a couple weeks ago. Yeah. So,
but on a side note, I wish to be Stefania Bell when I grow up because she's amazing.
Oh, she rules.
Yeah, she's a fantastic human being. And then Tommy Garrett, other than Cam Hayward, are you asking me other people on Pittsburgh's defense that I like? Because Minka Fitzpatrick was the pickup of the year for us. I mean, Devin Bush. I want to say pickup in season. Like, he was a mid-season pickup. Devin Bush has been fantastic. I mean, couldn't be more excited with the way that he's been producing. Yeah, I love all of my defensive players, and I love that they stand up for my quarterback. But we can move along really quickly.
Moving on.
As you talked, definitely, I dropped Buffalo for Atlanta. I think they have one more in them. Only alternatives would be Cleveland, Denver, or Indy. Buffalo, in regards to fantasy, only had 10 points against Miami, Cincinnati, and the New York Jets.
So wait, you dropped Buffalo's defense. Okay.
For Atlanta's defense.
I mean, I get that Atlanta had 2 defensive weeks back to back. I mean, that's bold. I like it. I still like Buffalo's defense, though.
Yeah, but I don't hate it. I don't hate that move.
No, I don't hate it either. So.
Yeah. Victor, stocking in retail is horrible. Worked for Adidas and Reebok. Yes, stocking is horrible because every time you fold something perfect, and at Hollister in particular, any of those stores, you had to fold stuff in the particular way, and you put it there and you turn around, and people just destroy it. Maybe that's why I also hate the holidays, because I just imagine having to clean up after all of these monsters going through and trying to find their size.
What about stocking avocados in uniform on top of each other? And then some asshole says, well, I want the freshest one at the bottom of the pile, and then grabs the one at the bottom of the pile, and it picks up an hour's worth of work.
I worked at Victoria's Secret, and I had to keep those panty bars pinned straight. That is far worse, sir, than a stack of avocados, because that stuff doesn't fold well.
You worked at Victoria's Secret?
I did.
and Hollister? Holy shit.
I know. I paid my dues. Tony Gonzalez, Monday Night Football intros are the best ever.
I'd have to go back and look at them. I don't remember them off the top of my head. But Tommy, now you've got me intrigued. That's going to be the next thing in my YouTube search.
Intrigue. Tyler, do we think Griffin has a pretty good floor going forward since Herndon is RIP? I feel like no one talks about him.
Didn't Daniel Brown score a touchdown last week? Yes, he did. It's a rhetorical question.
Okay, sure.
I did the highlights for Newton.
If you know the answer to the question, just say you know the answer to the question. Good job, Tate. You remembered that stat.
Anyway, yes, you can, because of Herndon's. I actually was low-key stashing Herndon in a couple leagues because I wanted to be able to, because I liked what I saw from him as a rookie. And I thought that 4-game suspension to start the year was just going to be, okay, well, I can get him on a discount on draft day.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate that Herndon is RIP, RIP list, whatever, shit happens. But yeah, if you want to roll with Griffin, I mean, tight end's a wasteland. So there's nothing wrong with rolling the dice on it.
Tight end has been absolutely brutal this year. I mean, even with the number ones, they have not been giving you the numbers of what true number ones should. Right. So, I mean, yeah, absolutely.
Even if you want to start Ross Dwelly.
Yeah.
Get in my Dwelly.
Oh, God. And then Tyler backing me up. Sam, you've worked the whole freaking mall. I wouldn't say the whole mall.
Were you at hands too? Did you used to get me a pretzel?
No, I did not work there. I just worked at places, just the clothes. And I just mostly worked just the stuff where I didn't have to talk to tons of people, just like in the back. Just leave me alone. Although I did make really good commissions at Victoria's Secret when you spot the one guy that doesn't know what to shop for and is terrified. And you're like, dude, let me just help you out. Tell me her sizes. I'll grab you what you need.
Guy for all his money, didn't you?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Oh, you bastard.
Well, I think she likes sweatpants. Perfect. I can give you this whole set of clothes. $200 later. Thanks. You're welcome.
A true salesman or
salesman. But to be fair, I always picked out cute stuff, so I don't feel bad when I sold them. It wasn't like I was giving them stuff I wouldn't wear myself.
Fair. I never sold. I never got, emotionally attached or felt bad when I sold someone a bad banana. Leonidas, pick 2. Cup, Ridley, or McLaurin. I think it's still Cup. And actually, I like Ridley. Look, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers secondary is bad. Mm-hmm. They're going to give up a ton of big plays. They're leaky, especially against faster, quicker wide receivers, which is exactly what Calvin Ridley is. He can create separation with ease in man-to-man coverage, which Todd Bowles likes to dial up. I think it's Ridley easily.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you there. Cup and Ridley for sure. I mean, McLaurin was great to begin the season too, but he's just hasn't been as consistent these last couple of weeks. So I'm going to go Cup and Ridley for sure. I mean, I know Cup is going to be difficult this week against the Ravens, but they're going to have to air out the ball this week. They're not going to win it on the ground game just because the Ravens defense is too solid. They're just not happening.
Yeah, I mean, but the one thing that does scare me about Cup, they have 3 solid man-to-man corners, do the Baltimore Ravens against Cooper Kupp, but Cooper Kupp is probably one of the more traditionally productive players in this Sean McVay offense. And especially if they have a full allotment of their wide receivers, it should help loosen some of the pressure off of Cooper Kupp. Yeah.
And Victor I'm surprised no one brought up Zeke's slick TD celebration with the Dak hip flip. I love that everyone is doing that. Have you even
tried that yet? Have you tried it?
No, but I'll try it. I'll post it this week. I'll post it before Sunday's matchups that I'm getting ready for week 12. Last one, week 12.
Shit. So, I mean, once upon a time, I played quarterback, and I never did any shit like that to warm up.
Jeez, yeah,
that's why I didn't make it to the pros. But
yeah. maybe if you had, then we wouldn't be talking because you'd actually be, professional athlete.
I'd be Tony Romo not 2.0, half point 0.
Half point 0.
I'd be the shorter, smaller version with a weaker arm.
Tommy with no, it was nothing. OSU other than Cam was what I was saying. That was my bad. Well, thank you for clarifying. We appreciate that.
Thanks for the clarification.
And Nick, Tate, I used to stock in the produce section. Honest question. Did you used to always sneak berries and grapes in the fridge? Did you?
I mean, I'd definitely try some of the product. Yeah, doubt. We were also in cahoots with the baking department too. So
my gosh.
I'd be getting in on some donuts as well. Oh yeah, I was all about trying to get, test as much of the product as I could.
Oh my gosh, too funny. And
we also had to deal with the deli section though. I would crush these whole foot long Italian subs and double up on the meat.
Oh my god.
It was amazing. What?
That sounds really good. No, it sounds awesome. And then Will, thanks for sticking around. We got a lot off the rails today, but it was awesome. Yeah, and we appreciate you. Will says, thanks for the advice. You guys are the best. Appreciate it. We appreciate you, Will.
Flattered, man. I'm turning red because of the lights.
Dennis, sorry for the million questions. It's okay, Dennis. That's why we're here. You think Philadelphia defense is playable from 13 to 15? At Miami, home to New York Giants, at Washington. Alternatives would be Buffalo, Cleveland, Tennessee, Houston. LA, Indianapolis, or the Galaxy.
A fourth of the league.
The fourth of the league would be the other option. Further fantasy convincing, searching. I think that's a great matchup. Yeah, I mean, you really have to go towards the end of the season and look at these matchups. I mean, I know Steelers have a great rest of season matchups. You just got to pick out, especially for defenses when you're streaming, you got to see who has the best week available. And you don't want to pick the ones that have maybe one or two. You want to ones that have a string of three like this one for Philadelphia, where they've got Miami, New York, and Washington. That's a great string right there. So you got to find those.
I would go ahead and just roll with Philadelphia. I mean, that's a pretty solid slate of matchups, like you just mentioned. I mean, you got Miami. Look, if you get torched by Fitzpatrick, you can live with that. That's not something I expect to happen. DeVante Parker is the best wide receiver that they have. I think they can find one way to bottle him up if they were able to do it to Julian Edelman and company. And then the New York Giants, I mean, Daniel Jones continues to be one week he throws 4 touchdowns and the next week he plays like dog shit. Yeah. So, and then you got Dwayne Haskins. You can't ask for a better matchup for that. So for that reason, I'm okay just rolling out Philadelphia's. I mean, if you can get one of these other ones that have like maybe Cincinnati or something like that in a given week and just roster 2 defenses, you can do that. But if you're having to roll out Philadelphia's defense against the aforementioned matchups, you're fine. Yeah.
And then this is a great question from Leonidas. How do y'all feel about dropping games on purpose to gain a better playoff matchup? Dick move or Belichick wisdom?
Fantasy football is so fickle.
Yes, exactly the word I was thinking of too.
I mean, you really can't on paper. You can say, oh, well, this person has a good matchup, bad matchup, bad matchup. Like I want to play that team rather than this team.
You can't play the gods in that way. The fantasy gods will not be friendly to you in doing that. I'm all about play to win outright. And then if you keep winning and you get better your position and get the number 1, then you're automatically going to have a great matchup. So you just got to play to win.
I mean, it's to quote Herm Edwards, you play to win the games. So you play to win the games. So don't tempt the fantasy gods. Don't mess with them. No. I don't like doing that because even like this past week, the 49ers were playing the Cardinals. They have one of the worst run defenses in the league, and yet Tevin Coleman got shut down on the ground. You can't. Just can't predict it. As much as you can dig into the numbers, you can dig into the little details, you can dig into the matchups on all levels, whether it's wide receivers versus corners, offensive linemen versus defensive linemen. You can do all that analytics, and you still don't know. So
you can't account for all the other little factors that go in. You can't account for the weather, that one crazy rained out game that they had. You can't account for any of that. You can't account for injuries. You can't account for fights at the end of the game. You can't account for any of these things. You just have to play to win and always put out your best lineup. That's how I roll. Tyler, better game this week, Ridley or Julio? I'm biased on this one, so I need to hear your take.
I think it's Julio. It's always Julio. No offense to Ridley. Ridley can ball, but it's Julio for me.
I'm fingers crossed for Julio to have a big game this week. I'm against the number 1 guy in my Dynasty League right now. And actually, it's funny, this Dynasty League, I always talk about it, but it is honestly the most complicated thing in my life, this Dynasty League, because there's so many different levels to it. We take it another level further because we want it to be so competitive. We intentionally schedule what we call our rivalry weeks, and we have, I want to say, 2 of them a season. And so we go in there and manually change our games so that we split up these rivalry weeks. And since beginning this league, it was back to those matchups. And so every year since, I have the same rivalry week with this one person, and he's the commissioner of our league. And I want to wipe the floor with his face so badly. And not only the floor, I want to wipe the floor of like a gravel floor that's got like broken bottles in it. I just want to destroy him because he has had an unbelievable roll of wins. And I just want to throw one more loss on that team. So not to be graphic, but I would like Julio to have a wonderful game. I hope that answers your question, Tyler.
I'm not trying to respond to that. That was very well said.
You're welcome. Guys, thanks for all of these questions. We're going to have to wrap up the last ones of these and then take us home. But Tommy, it's hard to trust Washington pass catchers with Dwayne Haskins at quarterback. Yep. We agree with you there. I'd only be interested in starting AP, even if not healthy, but more so than Geis. I mean, what was great with Geis and seeing him back on the field was it's just good to see that, there is talent there. Who knows what's going to happen with him? I know that for a lot of dynasty teams, especially, people rostered him, and they're not letting him go. And I don't think that they should. He is a big play waiting to happen. I just don't see that more big plays in his future this season. I feel like if they're going to grind it out with anyone, it's going to be AP, who is the veteran of the team.
We say that, and that's all well and fine, but I mean, ultimately, this team moving forward is going to have a lot of changes, and they need to figure out whether Darius Geis is a part of those changes and somebody they can rely on. And it's hard to get. It's going to be hard to get a real good feel. I mean, we're going to have maybe a month of a real full-on look at Darius Geis. I do expect if they're moving forward, Adrian Peterson, God bless his soul, one of the best I've ever seen play. Certainly a bona fide first ballot Hall of Famer. He's not part of the Redskins' future. I mean, so I do expect to see more Darius Geis. Got his first action under his belt, made through it healthy, played well, scored one of the few touchdowns on the day for the Washington Redskins. Yeah. So for me,
I think it was their first touchdown in 16 quarters, if I remember that stat correctly.
Yeah, it's something ridiculous.
Something insane.
Yeah, something like, whoa, holy shit, they're bad. Anyway, you can start AP, that's fine. But to be honest with you, I think it's going to eventually switch to Darius Geis seeing more snaps and potentially more touches.
Yeah. And Tommy's got your back again. It's not sneaking berries or fruits, it's quality control.
You're damn right it is, my friend.
Nick, I second Will. You guys are awesome. You both vibe really well together and do a great job of balancing sound advice analysis with being fun and entertaining to listen to. Thanks, Nick. We really appreciate those comments. We try really hard. I mean, I feel like, it wouldn't be fun unless we were, or at least if I was not making fun of Derek, week to week, taking him down a few pegs, throwing speed bumps in his rants, and if he weren't calling me out on my shit as well. So we have a good time.
We certainly do.
We do. Victor, clear eyes, full hearts, can't lose.
Can't wait. Art Scott. Woo. Leonidas' biggest fantasy disappointment. Got to be David Johnson.
Yeah, it's got to be. I mean, you drafted him too high to have nothing happen. Just horribly disappointing. I mean, I
thought it was Joe Mixon for a while, but David
Johnson took that
out of nowhere to take that mantle.
Yeah, what was his tweet this week too? Like, he just had a single tweet. I think it was "Welp?" ? Like, he doesn't even know what's happening to him.
Dude, yeah, he got benched for Kenyon Drake. Wow.
Yeah, that's just a slap in the face. Victor, the banter is on point. Rate 1 to 3. Simpsons, Friends, and Seinfeld. Cheers. This is gonna. This is gonna have to be our final debate. I mean, just because.
Yeah, let's let it rip.
Okay. 1 through 3. I'm gonna go number 1. My number 1 is Friends. It always will be Friends. I can quote every single episode. It has to be Friends for me. So for me, it's Friends, and then Seinfeld and Simpsons. I've just never been a big Simpsons fan. I don't know if it's because when I was growing up, my parents wouldn't let me watch it, so I'm just so out of the loop. But I just gotta organize them in that way. You can go ahead and completely disagree with me. I won't hate you.
No, I'm gonna have Seinfeld over Friends. I just loved. I thought the characters were just a little bit better as a whole than Friends. I thought Joey's my favorite of all the shows mentioned. Joey's my favorite character.
Oh yeah, Joey's.
I love Kramer and George Costanza. Jerry, despite being a little annoying here and there, still like him too. And Elaine certainly had her role, but I have to go Seinfeld 1, Friends 2, and Simpsons 3. I mean, like, there's nothing wrong with the Simpsons. I love Simpsons. Yeah. I love Homer Simpson. But it's just not my cup of tea. So,
well, Nick's my best friend, so he has the same lineup as me, so it makes it okay.
There you go.
And tennis, it was a lot of fun. Nice quote. Best football TV show ever. Thank you, Dennis. We appreciate you. Just love all this love. You guys are making my week. It's making it awesome.
You forgot about Friday Night Lights too.
Yeah.
Friday Night Lights ruled. Was amazing. Have you seen it?
No. Did I just lose everyone?
No, you may have lost. You may have made Dennis shake his head, but I don't think you lost Dennis.
Sorry. I mean,
all right.
It is what it is. We're not all perfect. If I was perfect, that would really suck. If I'd seen everything. I got things I need to work on in my life. And I love that Nick throws in
on The Simpsons, but you're way behiand.
And then I love that Dennis throws in Family Guy or Simpsons, and Nick immediately says Family Guy for sure. And I gotta agree, I'm more of a Family Guy person too.
I think Family Guy or South Park. I mean, I think that's a better debate, is Family Guy or South Park. Because they both make fun of a lot of. I mean, not that they all don't make their own pokes.
They all make fun of everybody. They're all
pop culture.
They're all kitschy pop culture, making fun of shenanigans and being dark and weird in all their own ways. I still gotta go Family Guy. I think that I just love that Seth MacFarlane does so many of the voices in the show, and I feel like Derek, you have to appreciate that too. I know you love the voices.
What, from Family Guy?
Yeah.
They don't have them in South Park?
No, they do too, but I feel like, it's just that range is awesome. So
I'm going South Park over Family Guy. No, I mean, Family Guy's awesome, but I'm a South Park guy.
Yeah. And then we got a lot of people that are also Family Guy people in here. And Victor says, hey, 2 for 2. Thanks, Victor. Appreciate that so much.
9,000.
And thankfully I didn't lose Dennis though. He says, what? You quoted Friday Night Lights. I did? Did I?
Just take the L, Sam. Take the L.
I'm sorry. All I can say is I can try to be better. I can try. Nick grew up with South Park, but I think Family Guy had so much subtle genius. I think it's the subtleties with Family Guy, because there's so many little clips and those little one-offs when they harken back to something and they call out celebrities in those little random weird ways. I think it's fantastic. No,
they do a fantastic job. I mean, again, you're picking between two correct answers. I'm a South Park guy. I mean, I love Randy Marsh. I mean, I can start going down the list of episodes that I love from South Park, but
Tommy's on your side. He said South Park for him too.
Agreed.
Great movie and video games.
Very underrated, by the way. Very underrated.
Yeah, very underrated. And then thankfully, I'm glad. I'm glad I didn't lose you, Dennis. Sam, your love for Family Guy saved you. Well, at least I got that going for me. Oh, clear eyes, full hearts, can't lose is Friday Night Lights. Someone wrote that in the comments, so I was just reading it. I just read what's on the prompter.
Again, Ron Burgundy.
If you put it on the prompter, I will read it. And Tommy, with this one, remember the Titans greater than Friday Night Lights. I feel like I can agree to that, even though I haven't seen it.
I'm a Remember the Titans guy.
I love Remember the Titans. It is amazing. Left side, strong side. So good. I love that movie. It's amazing. All right. So
if you fumble the football, then I will break my foot off in your John Brown hind parts. And then you will run a mile. Perfection.
Perfection.
Let's go to work.
And speaking of perfection, this goes back to the question about if you want to play to lose a week. Perfection, people. It's fantasy football. You play to win. And oh wait, this is so good. Okay, we've got so many more, and I love that you guys are keeping us off the rails. It makes it so fun. But this is one that again I'm going to lose a lot of people on. Game of Thrones or Lord of the Rings?
Oh,
I have not seen Game of Thrones.
You better get. I mean, God is.
That is such a bigger undertaking. That is such a huge undertaking. You can't expect me to watch Game of Thrones. You can't. Like, there's just too much.
You know what they both have in common? Sean Bean.
Oh, yeah.
Do you even know who that actor is?
Yeah, he was
Lord Eddard Stark.
Which one of the men was he in Lord of the Rings?
All right, I have to walk you through this. So not only is he Boromir in Lord of the Rings.
Boromir.
He's Boromir in Lord of the Rings, but he's Lord Eddard Stark, or affectionately.
See, I got Boromir. I know Boromir. I don't know who the hell these Game of Thrones people are.
By the way, I mean the replacements though. We got to talk about the replacements.
I love Jane Falco.
Jane Falco ruled.
Falco.
Footsteps Falco.
That's such a good nickname. Wow.
What's his quote at the end? Shit. Like at the very end when they're like trying to drive
They're
down
doing the huddle.
Yeah,
Chicks,
no.
Chicks Big Scars, that one.
Yeah, no. It's like pain heals, chick stick scars, glory lasts forever.
Yeah, I feel like I need that tattoo. I don't have a tattoo.
That's a great.
That's a great fucking tattoo.
It's a great.
I'll just put it like right across my forearm.
Because it's a great fucking quote.
Shane Falco.
Spot.
Oh man, I think I rewatch The Replacements every.
We could honestly have a nerd debate show. We could have a nerd debate, like TV debate, series debate, movies debate.
Hey, maybe in the off season, that's what we'll have to segue into because we won't have as much football to talk to. We can just make it, movie and TV show debate. I feel like we got a lot going there.
With Sam and Tate.
Oh, yeah, that's perfect. And then, Dennis, I'd pay a couple $1,000 to delete part of my brain to watch Lord of the Rings again for the first time. I love Lord of the Rings marathons. That sounds like so much fun. And the best part is when you get the director's cut and it's like 4 hours for each one. It takes like forever.
Look, I really do like Lord of the Rings. It's very well done, and even the books. If you haven't read the books, I mean, they're classics from Tolkien. But I'm just saying you got to give Game of Thrones a chance. If you're willing to give Lord of the Rings, which those movies are insanely long, but they are 3 digestible movies. Give the series of Game of Thrones a chance.
Yeah, but see, Victor's with me here. I'm with Sam. Game of Thrones is, I'm guessing this HA is just not, it's hard to, and not watchable. It's just too much. You can't digest that much. You're asking so much of me.
I'm not.
You are. That is a lot. Okay, if you asked me to start watching Lord of the Rings now, when would I finish?
I mean, you'd be able to watch it in a day.
In a day?
Lord of the Rings.
Lord of the Rings, yes. Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones. I can't do Game of Thrones.
No, I mean, if you wanted to undertake GOT, you'd have to put some hours in.
I have to quit my job. I have to quit fantasy football. I'm definitely not quitting fantasy football. I'll tell you that much.
I'm not putting a deadline on it, though. I just want you to make a commitment to start it. I think we need to have a bet because otherwise you're not going to watch it. So,
no, I'm not making a bet because I don't want to take that bet. I don't want to waste that time. What? I'm just going to sit there and be like, oh, sorry, guys, I can't go out and play today.
I haven't seen either of them. Don't laugh at the man.
No, I just love that Nick just throws in these randoms that just get me every time. It's so good.
So, I mean, let's make our respective sales pitches for Game of Thrones and Lord of the Rings. You represent Lord of the Rings. I represent GOT. You go first. Ladies first.
Okay, Lord of the Rings. What does it have? What doesn't it have? It's got heart. It's got battle. It's got camaraderie. You ride with these friends from the beginning to the end. They're just but children at the beginning, and by the end, they're different people. They go back home. They look at each other and realize the change that's happened over time. All that they've seen. It's such a huge growth story for these 4 friends, let alone the other people that they affect throughout the whole movie. The battle of good and evil is just, I feel like you're going to end up saying a lot of similar shit for Game of Thrones.
No, you're absolutely wrong.
I mean, it's just seeing that internal battle with Gollum, how he wants to be good, but he'll never be good because he's so messed up from the ring. It's just, yeah, you just can't not love.
So,
and by the way, we're approaching a minute 50 or an hour 58. So you better keep this Game of Thrones.
So I'll sign off. This shall be my swan song of this episode.
Okay.
However, you just said, what does Lord of the Rings not have? Well, I'll tell you what it doesn't have. Doesn't have
of nudity, apparently.
Doesn't have tits. So I mean, that's one thing it doesn't have. But I'm not saying that's why you should watch it. Seriously, you just mentioned the good and the evil, which is what is so boring and predictable about a lot of stories in general, but especially in the fantasy genre. One thing that Game of Thrones has is complexity. It's even though it has elements of fantasy, it's grounded in reality. It's grounded in politics. It's grounded in it's grounded in when you make decisions, those decisions have repercussions and obviously, and at times, consequences that cost you your life. Every character, no character is safe in Game of Thrones. And that's one thing that you don't get with Lord of the Rings. Like, I'm assuming we're talking to a bunch of folks that have seen Lord of the Rings. Now, Nick Bird has never seen it, But any character in Game of Thrones can be killed off at any moment, which gives every single moment that much more weight, every decision that much more weight. You can feel the predictability of Lord of the Rings, and although they have great characters and great moments, they lose their value because of the predictability and the inability to really create suspense that have the characters in Lord of the Rings that have plot armor. And I'm not saying that Game of Thrones doesn't have characters that have plot armor in situations, but there's far fewer characters that have that plot armor. And winter is coming.
We got a couple winter is coming comments here for you. Leonidas is with you. Winter is coming. Though Dennis,
You all made me your king. I never wanted it. I never asked for it. But the North is my home, and I will never stop fighting for it, no matter the odds. The odds are stacked against us.
I'm going to go ahead and just throw this up there. You shall not pass.
Yeah, and I'll respond
Thanks,
with
Victor.
King in the North.
Dennis, I like Game of Thrones. Still no competition to Lord of the Rings. Thanks, Dennis. I appreciate you.
And then I appreciate all opinions.
And according to Tommy, Game of Thrones is 2 days, 22 hours, and 15 minutes long.
That's actually the best stat of the night. Of all the numbers we've thrown out, Tommy Garrett with the gem of the night.
With that stat.
And on that note, what you need to do is you do need to give Knox a White Claw because he's earned it. And Leonidas agreed. King in the North. You could say King of the North as well, but it is, according to the books, King in the North. So I just love speaking in a fake Northern Scottish accent. But the point being, this is the end of the episode for the Fantasy Debate with Sam and Tate. Sam, sign us off.
Thanks, guys, for joining us. And please be sure to go ahead and give us a follow on Twitter and all our social medias. Again, Derek on Twitter is at dtater4 and on Instagram as well, the same handle. I myself am at Samantha R. Holt on Twitter. On Instagram, I'm at Sam_awesome. Please go ahead and follow at Fantasy Focused on Twitter as well. Give us a subscribe. Make sure you don't miss an episode. And don't miss the guys on Sunday because they will always answer your questions right before the week's lineup. So please be sure to join us next week at 7 p.m. And Derek, will you go ahead and take us out of here?
Absolutely. A couple more. Camping RV trip. Real quick, I'm going camping all day long. Tommy, Harry Potter, better than Lord of the Rings. That's just your opinion, my friend. Dennis, don't forget the DM. You know it. Absolutely. If you smell what the Rock is cooking. And the Rock is tired of hearing you whine. He's tired of hearing you bitch. He's tired of hearing you cry and moan like a baby. But the Rock says he wants to have you listen to one thing to listen to. And that is the Fantasy Debate with Sam and Tate, brought to you by Fantasy Focused. If you smell what the Rock is cooking later, says the Tater.
Bye, guys.